He doesn't have a problem with drugs, he just doesn't get them. He's fine that his mates have tattoos, but he thinks they'll regret them. He likes going to pubs, but he hates it when the music's too loud. He tends not to go to rock concerts, cause he can't stand the crowds. But all he's ever wanted to be is a rock star on Rage or MTV. But he knows that it's not fucking likely. He just turned 30. He knows that he will always be a rock and roll nerd. He'll keep writing songs the world will never hear, and though they won't be heard, he'll just keep writing. Oh yeah, but you see the problem is he always dreamt of being a star, but he learned piano instead of guitar, which in the 90s didn't get you very far. So while the other kids were learning Stairway, he was the piano to their forte. But he was convinced one day he'd rock their fucking asses, be an icon for the disenfranchised masses, grow his hair long and rebel against the state. But just for now that'd have to wait, cause he's running late for his morning classes, and he will always be a rock and roll nerd. He'll keep playing gigs that no one knows about, and though it sounds absurd, he'll just keep playing. Oh yeah, but you see the problem is there's not much depth in what he's singing. He's a victim of his upper middle class upbringing, so he can't write about the hood or bling bling. So he sits and imagines his girlfriend is dead, to try and evoke some angst in his middle class head. But the bitch is always fine at 9:30 when they go to bed. And he's not spent a single night in prison. He has no issues with nutrition. He has no drinking problem and no drug addiction, unless you count the drugs they put in chicken. And marijuana always tends to make him cough. He doesn't look good with his t-shirt off, and when he tries to act tough, you can tell he's tricking. Late, a puffin' pills and having fun. He goes home and showers and gets a good 8 hours. He gets thrills from his morning run, and while his mates all go on dates, are taking speed and drinking cans of Jim Beam, he stays home and cooks, curls up with the book with the girl he's had since he was 17. Cause he's never really been part of the scene. Give him Guns N' Roses, he'll take Queen. He's more into Beatles than the Stones. He's more Stevie Wonder than Ramones. And he's never owned a panel van. He never shot a Pantera fan. He doesn't know the difference between metal and thrash. He couldn't tell you nothing about Axl and Slash. He likes Ben Folds and the Jackson 5. He knows all the words to Staying Alive. And though he wants to be all grungy and cool, he spent 11 years at a private school. So it don't matter how he tries, he cannot hide behind his rock and roll lies. Cause you've either got it or you don't. Yeah, you'll either rock it or you won't. You've either got it or you don't. Rock it or you won't. You've either got it or you don't. He knows that his music lacks depth, but it just can't be helped. He has nothing interesting to say, so he writes about himself. But he doesn't want to seem self-obsessed, so he writes in third person. In an attempt to seem more rock and roll, but he suspects it's not working. And deep in his heart he knows that he'll never be Silverchair or Eskimo Joe. And even if he was quite pretty with small pants like Kylie, he knows that he will always be a rock and roll nerd. keep riding. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You can criticize.
I'm sorry, I have to let it finish. It's so good.
Care, cause he wants to rock, and he will never be deterred. But he'll always be a fucked up little try-hard wannabe rock and roll nerd.
Rock and Roll Nerd by the one and only Tim Minchin. Fun fact, he is actually the guy that wrote Matilda the musical that just went up on Netflix. So if you watch that, he actually wrote all the music for that musical, which is kind of fun. Fun fact, right? That shit bussin'. Damn right it is. Damn right it is. How's everybody doing? Some of you guys I saw just 14 hours ago or so. We had a members only stream last night. So only members of this channel got to hang out with us last night. It was super chill, really relaxing. I ate some chicken, I think, possibly got food poisoning. One word, lava, overcame me. So we had to end that stream kind of early, but it was cool. It was nice. How much is membership? I believe on YouTube, it might change depending on where you are in the world, but I believe it's $4.99. It's about $3.50. About $3.50. But it's that little like join button that you see below. That's what that is. I didn't need that word. Yeah, sorry. Now you heard it. Can't unhear it. Watching Luke eat chicken. Yeah. You guys only get to see me eat green beans, which, for the record, I did eat right before the stream. I've got my little factor right there. I did have honey mustard chicken with green beans and then thyme roasted potatoes. It was quite good. Quite good. So I'm living the life. Really. Lava. How much do premium memberships help your channel? Well, so basically there's no added perks or anything. It's just if you choose to do actually, I don't think we have multiple level memberships, do we? I don't think we do. I thought it was just the one, the $4.99. I know you can set different levels where you can become a member for like $10 or $25 or something. It's like, the different tier memberships on Twitch. Is there a tier where I can only watch, I only can watch you eat green beans? Jared, maybe we'll do that. We'll add a special tier. The green bean tier. Very exclusive club right there. But no, it's super chill. I mean, the main thing is we could add a tier 3 thing and have it so you could just put whatever you want. But, I don't know. There's no added perks. I don't have any cool thing to do as an extra perk. So I was like, yeah, become a member. And if you really want to throw money at me for some reason, you can super chat, just like Thomas Mullins just did with the $2 contribution. Potatoes were outrageously tremendous. Yes, markedly tremendous even. Markedly. Tier 3 gets hot tub streams. Oh, maybe that's that we could do that. You ever played The Division? I did not play The Division. My buddy Caleb played the crap out of it though. He showed me one time a video he filmed of him just playing The Division casually, and his build out, or whatever you would call it, but his guy is so broken. The damage numbers when he shoots things and the damage numbers pop up, the numbers are so long that they clip outside of the rendering field that they give him. So it just breaks. He broke the game. So that's my exposure to The Division. Apparently there are some rumors going around that this new Naughty Dog game, the multiplayer one, kind of reworked factions, is going to be very much inspired by The Division. A lot of us were thinking it was going to be more Battle Royale. Apparently there's some rumors going around it's going to be more like The Division than anything else, which makes more sense because they said it has a story and it has a narrative that plays through it, and that works better with something like a Division style game than something like, a Battle Royale style game. But either way, it's going to be interesting. New World, been playing that. I do have New World. I played it a bunch at launch. And then like I stopped for a few weeks and then I jumped back in and I was like, oh my God, I'm so far behind everybody. Too much on the screen. I agree, Mikkel. I don't have an international credit card. My country doesn't support PayPal. Don't ask. But I would become a member or donate. But because I love your content so much, I'm kind of well, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. And I mean, it is unfortunate that sometimes it's just like, support is not where it should be. YouTube support for international like currency is and stuff like that is really, really flimsy. And then, I mean, honestly, just in general, their support is kind of all over the place, but at least they're not doing the Twitch thing where they just like spike the prices for international consumers. Have you seen the Lies of P 30 minutes demo? I think so. We've done a couple of reactions to Lies of P stuff. High on Life critique. Yeah, the video just went up. The video just went up at 10 a.m. At least it should have, for the love of God. If it didn't, I'm going to scream. But it should have. Maybe loading. Yeah, it did. So, yeah, that's a thing. I meant to post it 2 days ago and then I forgot. And then yesterday I was supposed to go up and I got distracted working on stuff. And then I looked at the clock and it was like 2 p.m. And my videos, for some reason, if I don't publish them at 10 a.m., they generally do pretty poorly. So I have to do it like right on the dime. I saw somebody commented on the High on Life thing. They're like, you just like to be a contrarian. I was like, maybe for some stuff I like to be a contrarian. But I feel like usually at least I try to explain why I think what I think. I'm not just going like, oh, you guys hate Andrew Tate. Well, I love Andrew. Like, I'm not doing anything like that, you know? And like, I think most players like High on Life. I'm with most players on that. The reviewers were the ones in the outfield, right? Or like Elden Ring. I agree with everybody on Elden Ring. It's just, for some people, if you dare to like critique or criticize a game, then you're being a contrarian. And it's like, no, sometimes I just, like, I can point things out and still like a game. It's possible to have a nuanced opinion, believe it or not. A better sell would be like the streamer Rocky gets let out from the basement. Oh, that could work. Yeah. Yeah, everybody like the stream. It does make an actual difference. It does help. Babe and Baby are good. Lockie woke up. He ate a bunch of goldfish. We had a little baggie of goldfish near the bed because it was in our luggage from our trip. And he found it when he woke up and started walking around and marching around. And so he just sat like at the foot of the bed and just ate goldfish one by one while watching Elmo this morning. It was very sweet. So they're doing very, very good. There's much replayability. Not from the beginning. There's a good amount of stuff to be found on the sides. I don't like how grindy like the warp discs are to find in a lot of cases. But there's a lot of cool hidden stuff in that game. I don't think they do a great job of communicating to you what is there and how many options and different routes you can go. But there is a lot there. I don't know. This little critique, mini critique, review, analysis, whatever you want to call it, of High on Life. I wouldn't really say it's a full-on critique. It's not really a review. It's somewhere in the middle. And it's a video that I wanted to make, and I wanted to go through the entire game. So it would have been like a 2.5 hour video. But it was the last video we made before Christmas break. And so I filmed this video like 4 weeks ago. And so we were just trying to like get it out and get it done so that Jacob and I could take time off. So it's kind of a weird video, but hopefully it still plays okay. But yeah, it was just kind of weird. I think if you give High on Life a bit of time after completing it, you'd probably be enticed to play it again. I will say I've played through the first like 2.5 hours like 3 times now because the recording didn't work the first couple of times. And then I watched Nikki play through the intro again. So I've been through that intro a handful of times. And while like I know it all really well, I just think the waves and waves of enemies do get old. They do get old. They needed more enemy variety. And that's something I agree with all the reviewers on. Especially because all of the enemies have like similar heights. And because of that, like you'll hear in the review analysis, whatever, I say all the time, like, I don't know, I really think that Kenny is far and away the best gun. The other guns are, like, fun initially, but they just kind of, I don't know. There's not a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of instances where they're super useful. Especially because Kenny can just quickly headshot people, and it's really, really easy. So I just, like, you set the height, and because the enemy variety is so poor, and all of them are the same height, you just set the height on the Y, and then strafe side to side while firing, and you'll just plop heads off, easy peasy, and it doesn't feel challenging or anything like that. So I think they really need to improve that. But they were also saying like the boss fights were underwhelming. Reviewers said that. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's one I legitimately don't understand. I think the boss fights are far and away the highlight of the game, and I thought that they were actually pretty well done. But I don't know. I don't know, Jared. I think it's the ultimate Game Pass game. Like, it is the game that some people are going to love. Some people will hate it. Almost all based on the comedy. So if you enjoy the comedy and you've seen the clips and it seems funny, I think you'll enjoy it. But if you are iffy on it, it's something to do with, like, Game Pass. And so instead of spending $60 on it, go buy a $15 single month, whatever, Game Pass Ultimate membership, try it, and if you hate the game, at least you have all of the other games in Game Pass Ultimate that you can play and still get your money out of that $15 contribution. Play The Ascent or something like that. That's short and easy. Weird West is another good one. So, go that route. Game Pass has just changed how we, review things. Has the lens come in yet? No, the lens come in tomorrow. I ordered from B&H, and I ordered 2 different ones, and I'm just going to return whichever one doesn't work. Basically, they're like on paper, they're the same lens, basically. Just one is a Sony G series, and so made by Zeiss and super premium glass, and it's just really crisp. But a lot of the extra cost comes in with like autofocus improvements. I don't think I'm going to use autofocus in here. I'm just going to set it and forget it. All of these lenses on all of these cameras, none of these lenses have autofocus. All of these are manual focus. You set it, you forget it, it won't change. There's no autofocus at all. And I don't mind that. I kind of prefer it for the studio. I'm not moving around in here, so I actually prefer it not having autofocus where it's randomly going in and out and everything. But, maybe it would be nice to have. I don't know. So one of the lenses is like twice the cost of the other one, even though on paper they should be about the same. And I'm guessing I'm going to just end up using the cheaper one. My watch thought I was talking to Siri, and so it just transcribed the last like 2 minutes of me rambling. So yeah, those will come tomorrow, and I'll put them on the camera and try it. It's also tomorrow I'm getting a shearing, so I'm going to look human again. The hair is going to be trimmed. And so I'm waiting to film Friday's video until tomorrow afternoon. It's like a whole thing. There's a whole process to it. You don't even understand. My hair is so shaggy, though. Like, look at this hair back here. Look how long that is. Why is it that long? And, like, I moisturize like a mofo, or condition, rather. And still, it's, like, weirdly broken up and looks all dry. I don't know what the deal is. A shearing? Yeah, it's a shearing. I'm going to be real. My hair is so thick, it's like wearing a helmet. I'm just being real. I have, and I'm not joking, I know this sounds like a joke. I am not joking. I have gotten a haircut before where the stylist broke their clippers, like the zzz thing. It jammed in my thick hair and broke the shears or the clippers, whatever they're called. And she had to like put them away and get a new one. She's like, I think your hair just broke my clippers. I was like, sorry, that really hurt. So my hair is very, very thick. Good news, I'm probably not going bald anytime soon. Bad news, long hair is like wearing a helmet. And so like I'm already kind of like, I don't know. It's heavy. It's tough. I don't know if I could handle really long hair. Bro, I had long hair my whole life. One advice I can give you is use shampoo only. The products women put on their hair only make it worse. I found that it depends. It really depends on which kind. Like I had a shampoo and conditioner that was like made for men. Absolute rubbish. Absolute trash. It was like the Dove whatever. And it made my hair drier. It made it like break and crack. It was horrible. And I thought that that's just what hair felt like. And then one day I tried the nice stuff that Nikki bought and uses. And that nice stuff, dude, your hair will feel like angel hair pasta in a good way. I know that sounds weird, but in a good way. It's just silky smooth and it's great, but it really depends. We're going to play something today. I do think we are going to play probably some Jedi Fallen Order. I am working my way through it in preparation for the next game. I actually am not sure how much more I have to go, but I've been playing on the hardest difficulty, just grinding through, and I've been having a good time with it. Are the shampoos expensive? The really good ones are probably like, I don't know, if the cheap big bottles are like $10 for the big bottle. I'm vibing. I just slapped the soundboard, but I am vibing. Like the nice bottles are probably about twice that, like $20. There's ridiculously expensive stuff like that Kim Kardashian uses. At that point, just buy a wig. Like, just get a wig. Just, stop messing around. Do for a Sheeran too. Yeah. It just, it comes. It's just during the holiday season, I got caught up in the festivities and I just didn't get around to it. And then my stylist was booked out through like all of December. And so it's like, you know what? It happens. Let's see. Sometimes I wonder if I'm the kid from Son of Bigfoot because my hair grows so fast. Yeah, I feel like mine, I just wake up one day and it's really long. Like I'm like, oh no, my hair is like, I'm looking fresh. I got a haircut a week and a half ago. I feel good. And then I go back to work and I look up one day and my hair is like this. And I'm like, what happened? My hair grows very quickly. Oh, any more news on the Lego stream? Good point, Phil. Lego stream, for those of you not aware, members know. I told members in the members only stream last night what Lego set I got. So it's a secret. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out, but I told them what we were going to be building. And what we're building is a massive Lego set that is going to require me to, I kid you not, probably install a shelf into the concrete wall behind me. Because this thing is massive. So we're going to get it. We looked up last night a video of a guy building it, and it took him 10 hours. So I think we're going to do probably a couple of Lego streams where we're probably reacting to some videos while I build the Lego set here, and we just hang out and we grind through it. It's going to be awesome. But Hogwarts. Oh, I already got the Hogwarts. I got the Hogwarts. But this thing is massive. This thing is like, no joke. It's almost a full 5 feet, like wide. It's ridiculous. React content coming. I just have no other, like, what else am I going to do for 10 hours of stream building Legos? I've got to have something, I can only ramble so long. Fallen Order I bought recently before a PS Plus free game this month. I thought the character's movement was lazy and weird. Maybe it was because I was playing Red Dead 2 before jumping into it. I don't know. You're not wrong, Renier. He runs like he just rode a bicycle race with no seat on the bike. I'll show you guys when we start playing it. There's something weird about how his legs bend. His legs, like he runs like this, but these are his legs. It doesn't make sense. If you look at his legs too long when he's running and the animation is going, it's like, that's gotta hurt, right? It's bad. It's bad. So you're not alone. I completely agree. That's not just because you're playing Red Dead. It looks stupid as hell. As for the rest of the game, I don't know. I kind of forgot how many inspirations they took from like Dark Souls. I forgot that it's like Dark Souls mini with difficulty options, but you fight with lightsabers and stuff. Like they really leaned into, like if you play on the hardest difficulty, it can get pretty tough. There's some very precise parry timings and everything. It's like pretty impressive. Are you planning a critique of Fallen Order? I don't know if it'll be a full-blown critique. We might do like an I tried video, kind of like that, and do that again, going through it right before the next game launches. But I don't know. I'm open to it. My footage from back in the day, I wonder if I probably still have some clips, but I had a hell of a time with this game back when I first played it on the Xbox Series or Xbox One X. And it was just like, this is footage from 2018, 19, whenever it came out. And I remember specifically it was like the ice bridges. They would randomly like not render, so I would just be floating on like an invisible floor. No, it must have been when I came to this area first. But yeah, my original time with this game was buggy. And people accused me of like, I remember the time I got comments, people saying like, you must have been hacking or something to try and make the game look worse, because I haven't had any of these bugs. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I just played the game and I had all these bugs. I don't know what to tell you. Of course, now I can't find any. I know it's me and I know she's an actual living person, but every time I see this woman, I just think she looks like Shane from Jimmy Neutron. I know that's mean. I know I'm a terrible person for saying it, but I just can't unsee it. I'm sorry. But yeah, I think that's why I initially was kind of half turned off to the game, because I enjoyed parts of it, but I had one hell of a time trying to get it to work right. And you see like little stuff like that still happens in the game. Watch his character model when you go into this cutscene animation. He like bounces around and clips in. See that? Little stuff like that happens all over the place, even now. I think it's an Unreal Engine thing. There's also some weird frame rate hitching that happens. I think it's shader caching issues. Same exact thing that hit, of course, Gotham Knights and Callisto Protocol. It's just a thing that happens in Unreal Engine for whatever reason. And so it happens all the time. There was another... I remember... I bet if I just pull up my... I could probably just pull up the video I did on it. Hold on. Jedi. Oh, I did something incredible video on it. Lol. Those were the days, right? It was like issues. Died right as the boss was killed, so it actually sent me back to the beginning of the boss fight. It's something that should have been polished. I remember this. I would do this in voiceovers all the time, and I don't know why. I would say something, and then I would It would like trail off. I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I thought it made me sound like smart or something, but I would do it all the time. I don't know why I would do that, but it's like, yeah, and it's something that kind of drove me crazy. But you know what? What are you gonna do? Flushed out. It looks like it's just a contingency error, but nonetheless, it's here. Here's a weird loading glitch. This Wookiee looks like he was a prize at a touring carnival. That is true. The Wookiees look freaking dumb. Tons of pop-in issues all over. Yeah, look at this. These are the issues I had all the time. This is like on a landing sequence. The place in this level. I don't know what it is. I'm running on an Xbox One X. This shouldn't be happening. But even after a full system restart, this was still happening all over the place. Yeah, you see that? Yeah, the disappearing floors. And right here during the live stream, you can see I popped out. Clean shaven Luke with his white balance all screwed up so his skin is green. Down to a platform, and the second I do so, the stormtroopers disappear and the Guardian drops dead onto the floor. I don't know what happened here. I don't know how to explain it, but it happened. Now this is just a selection of the glitches that I've encountered in my playthrough. There are, believe it or not, many more, but I've got to keep this video within a reasonable length, so I'll stop it there. Once again, all these problems just prove to me that this game was rushed out. Even though the first 2 hours received an excessive amount of polish, it shows where their efforts were directed, at the opening hours where they could make a good first impression. Now let me be clear, EA games, yeah, and I would stand by it. I think it does feel like the first hour and a half is really, really refined. And then you get to the last half of the game and it's just kind of phoned in. Luke without his beard hits different. I was talking to Nikki actually recently. I was like, what, should I shave just to see Lachlan's reaction? Oh my god, people are like, it's not an EA game, it's a Respawn game. Guys, who owns Respawn? Like, this is the same thing when you say like, actually, Starfield's not going to be an Xbox game, it's a Bethesda game, okay, dumbass. It's like, I think you're the one saying stupid things. But yeah, it was just really weird because I remember liking it, but it felt really, really rough. But I don't know if it was like certain types of Xbox One X's were having issues. Like it was a specific type of, like, I really don't know because it seems very, very inconsistent. Either you had tons of issues like I had, or you had no issues at all. I really don't know. Yes, here, Brian. Respawn has had a ton of leeway. I think after the success of Apex, they were just given free reign to do whatever because they're doing it. You know, it's working. So they're like, we're not going to mess with you. Just keep printing us money. And they said, okay. But yeah, it was just amazing that. And now, like, you'll see in videos now, I always am like super anal about that stuff where I'm like, yeah, so this company, like when I said in the Hogwarts Legacy video, is like, this is being made by Avalanche, not the Avalanche that made like Mad Max, a different Avalanche. But this is being made by a studio called Avalanche and Portkey Games, and it's being published by Warner Brothers. And Warner Bros, as a publisher, has also been involved in the publication of other games that have had majorly problematic releases. Is that their fault necessarily? No, not necessarily, but they're also the ones that set deadlines and schedules and payouts and everything like that. So the timelines and polishing period is usually on the publisher. So, you know, I do think it's relevant to bring that up. One thing I do love about EA is that they rarely, if ever, take down their online servers of their games. Yeah, that is a good thing. You know what? Good job, EA. We'll give you that one. I have that same fidget toy. Nikki got me this for Christmas. It was like a stocking stuffer. And now I catch myself just like passively and mindlessly playing with it every once in a while. It's one of those like infinity cubes that you just can keep folding and folding forever. So it's fun. It's fun. I also have a fidget spinner. I'm that guy. Let's see. Actually, in a good number of critiques, you can hear the fidget spinner like in the distance. You can barely hear it. If you have headphones on, you can probably hear it. But it's because like I'll be recording the voiceover and stuff, and I'm just sitting here reading. So to keep my hands busy, I'll play with the fidget spinner while I do it. And I try to keep it out here, like out in front of the microphone, but every once in a while you can still catch it just a little bit. Let's see. Let's touch on I think we should touch on the leak about Tears of the Kingdom, the Breath of the Wild sequel. We should touch on that. Genshin Impact, I think we can skip that. Yuji Naka formally charged with insider trading. Lol. We can touch on that. The Horizon remake being done by an outside team. We can touch on that. Multiverses is adding a Breaking Bad character. January 3rd is the beginning, so it already happened, but we can still touch on that. And then this stuff. Okay, let's quickly blast through these news stories and then get to Jedi Fallen Order, I think. I think that's the way to do it. Have I seen Payday 3 yet? I did see that. Yes. I mean, it just looks like more Payday, if I'm being real. Like, I don't really see if it's worth a ton of hype. I guess I missed the hype. Corey Kenshin, that sounds familiar. But I couldn't tell you who that person is or what that is. Corey Kenshin, it sounds familiar. But okay, let's blast through this real quick, and then we can get to games, right? What we're all here for. Let's do this. So, this first one comes from Game Informer. Images of what might be Tears of the Kingdom Switch models appear. Ooh la la. For those of you guys who are not familiar, they do this a lot with the Switch, where they have special editions with unique artwork, prints, skins, and stuff on the docks and Joy-Cons and things. And apparently there are some leaks on what appears to be an early manufacturing model right here. And you can see like they've got the box, Tears of the Kingdom edition. It looks pretty legit to me, if I'm being real, especially the box. This type of cardboard, it's something I've always noticed about the Switch boxes. They have a very unique feel and a very unique texture on them, and the cardboard is also very unique. It's strange, but if you've ever opened a Switch box, like when you got your Switch, you probably know what I'm talking about. It feels very different than most boxes nowadays. It's not like glossy or anything. It's very rough. And this looks to be exactly that. So if this is fake, it's done very, very well. That being said, I think that this left Joy-Con looks hilariously bad. But that's just me. They also, I mean, the core dock itself, I'll be real. I don't think that this looks particularly good. I don't think it's something I would buy or pay for, but I know that there's probably a lot of people who will. I already have a Switch OLED. The Switch OLED is amazing and is great and definitely worth getting if you plan on playing like 100 hours of or whatever this is, Tears of the Kingdom. If your Switch is currently having issues because it's like 5 years old, going on 6 years old, almost 6 years old. Jeez, man, the Switch, that's insane. 6 years in March. It'll be 6 years. No news on a new console or anything. That's wild. They've got to have something coming down the pike. Like, I don't know if Nintendo sticks with the Switch and if they just do a Switch Pro or a Switch 2 or something. I don't know if they do that. or if they come out with an all new console. I really don't know. I hope that they have something exciting, because when the Switch came out, I hadn't been that excited for a like new gaming thing in a long time, and it was just fun. Like, everybody wanted a Switch. It was super cool. You take off the Joy-Cons, and it was like, it was just awesome. It was a cool feeling. Now, at the age of the Steam Deck, like, the Switch as a third-party player of last-gen games is just not up to snuff. It's just not very good. The OLED screen is a big plus, but against the Steam Deck, I just don't think you can really compete. So they've got to come up with something, and I don't know what that something is, but I don't think anybody could have predicted the Switch's success when it launched or was announced. So we'll have to see. But honestly, this looks pretty legit, and I would expect that this is legit. But also the fact that this has been manufactured tells me I don't think it's getting delayed again. I think it's coming this year. I don't think it's going to get pushed, because greenlighting this level of manufacturing is not an easy or casual thing. So, no, it's kind of fun. But I keep forgetting this game is coming out this year. I mean, it's crazy, but allegedly it's coming. I don't know if they're going to be able to recapture the magic and do the same thing over again. Because when Breath of the Wild came out, I played this so much. I played Breath of the Wild so much. It was ridiculous. But we'll see. I hope. I would love another game to put 150 hours into. I would love it. We'll see if they can recapture it, though. Because I'd be worried that they lean too much into trying to do the same thing again, like the same map as Breath of the Wild and same basic combat and stuff, but it's just like with a new level of verticality and things. I think that would be, playing it overly safe. But the one thing you got to say about Nintendo is that they rarely play it super safe with console launches and with Zelda stuff. Like Mario, they play it safe all the time. Mario Kart, super safe. But with Zelda stuff, they always are down to take risks and do different things. And say what you will about them. I mean, that's cool. Props to them. So, we shall see. So that's our first tidbit. This next one is going to appeal to some of you. Others might not care. But I do want to touch on it because I do find it relatively interesting, and there are some cool numbers associated with this that I find really I just find it really, really interesting. So first things first, this story comes from the chairman of Robert Space Industries. If you're not familiar, these are the guys making Star Citizen, raised over $500 million to produce this game, new game engines, rendering pipelines, tech, all sorts of stuff. Star Citizen has sort of a public identity issue, and that is that it comes off as being sort of a really strange possible money laundering scheme. That's at least what outsiders really think. That's what it looked like to me for a long time until I tried the game myself. I can say the game is pretty impressive. There's a lot here, and it's pretty cool. And one of the things that we're going to look at here is some new tech that they put in that actually is very, very impressive. But again, once again, the issue is that the public perception is a little rough. However, it looks like they're making leeway. Probably, and they say it's thanks to a lot of influencers helping introduce their audiences to the game for the first time, to actually give the game a shot. And people are trying it and actually liking it. So I think things are changing, but Star Citizen just keeps, adding new stuff. There are some problems, which we're going to outline in just a second, specifically that they offer these really cool tech advances and cool new tricks and features and things, but they're always behind schedule, and they almost always launch totally broken, and they never really get fully fixed. So what am I referring to? Well, we'll go through it briefly. The first thing that has to be referenced is the persistent entity streaming. This might sound a little overly wordy, so let me explain. Basically, in any online game, you like say like a typical MMO, like say Elder Scrolls Online or World of Warcraft or whatever. If you go to an area of the map, there's players there, they can drop weapons, they can drop items, right? But the general idea or like agreed upon phenomenon is that if you drop something, it's probably going to despawn very quickly, if not immediately. And certainly it'll despawn once you log out of your session. Certainly. That's something that's just not going to be a thing in Star Citizen. Things will never despawn. And what they do, or what this is known as, is persistent entity streaming. So what that means is that anywhere in the Star Citizen universe, you can drop items, you can leave cargo, you can crash your ship, you can do whatever, and it will stay there permanently forever until someone moves it. And what this allows for in terms of gameplay is like you go to a planet. Again, these are like planet-sized planets. You can go find a cave that generated somewhere at random coordinates, and you can start stashing all sorts of loot there. If you don't want to store it on your ship or anywhere else, you stash it there. And you can leave the game and come back a year later and it will still be there. And that's a little insane, because the way that they have to do this, my understanding is that they have like a series of servers, and then the servers are all split into shards. And so you're playing on one shard of the server tree or root system. And then they have to be able to communicate which servers you previously played on so that your stuff is always persistent and your squad stuff and friend stuff is always there. It's really interesting. And it's also cool because like other things, if you crashed your ship on the planet at one point, your ship wreck will still be there 6 months later on that planet until you go and salvage it and, tear it down for scrap metal and stuff, which is a little wild. As far as I'm aware, this has never been done before. It is truly a cutting edge technological advancement and actually pretty impressive. Right now, this is something that's only available in the 3.18 build of the game. And it's only available, like that version of the game is only available to certain testers in certain servers. So it's not public yet. And part of the reason it's not public is because, of course, it launched pretty broken and it's pretty glitchy. It's also caused all sorts of tanking performance issues. However, I mean, it's pretty freaking cool that you're able to do this. And you see this guy right now, he's salvaging a ship and all sorts of stuff. Hero Brine, our resident mod for Star Citizen stuff, says there will be a system to clean up a lot of items in one location based on age and priority due to your own PC. Most likely not being able to handle a million medical gowns in one place. Yes. Yeah. Now, obviously, the potential for spamming is certainly there. No doubt there will be a lot of people that go into areas and just dump piles of garbage. That's a concern. That's something that they are aware of. And they're trying to come up with ways that you could either quickly clean that type of thing up, or that you could, maybe disincentivize that with in-game fines, if you're caught doing that by authorities and stuff like that. But the basic thesis, the premise of this whole system is that it's a universe that you're playing within, and they want that universe to feel as realistic as possible. And that includes, if you were to drop this gun, this weapon right here on the ground, you fly away from the planet. Unless somebody picks it up and moves it, it's going to be there when you come back. Whether that's tomorrow or a year from now. Which is pretty cool. So that's one of those ridiculous gameplay features that they're actually trying to implement. It's a little easier said than done. Obviously, this type of thing is not easily implemented, but they are actively doing it. And from the early tests, it looks like it does work. There are a couple of hiccups here and there. So, for example, I saw one guy, he was describing it where if you are playing on a shard, a server shard, and say your ship crashes like this one did, and all of the cargo and your stuffed animals and everything scatter all over this planet's surface. If that happened on this server shard. And later, if you load into a different server shard, this stuff won't be here because it's located on that other shard. So what they're going to do is they're going to allow you to specifically load into dedicated server sections where you've previously played so that your stuff is reflected. In the future, they will have seamless server meshing. They plan to have this, like, I think they said at the end of this year, they plan to have this implemented, where, like, basically, if you load into the game, you never have to think about it. The server just handles getting you to the right shard automatically. They plan to have that implemented, similar to what, like, Sea of Thieves does. Like, if you've ever played Sea of Thieves, if you're sailing on the seas, you will seamlessly be going between servers as you're sailing across the sea. And so one player may appear to you over here, but after they sail off into the distance, you load into another server without ever noticing it and meet up with another player who's playing on a different server. So you never see it. It's seamless. That's what they hope to do here, where as you travel from planet to planet, you could be bouncing between different server shards, but you don't notice it. All you know is that every time you go somewhere, all of your stuff is still there, which is pretty cool. You can get stuffed animals. You can get a lot of stuffed animals. Yes. Yes, you can. My frustration, Hero Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. Every time I play that game, I play for a while and then I get thirsty and then I end up in the hospital due to lack of water and thirst. Am I crazy, or should I be able to buy or grab water in my 890 jump? Surely there's water in that ship somewhere. I just can't find it. Thank you, Steven, for becoming a member. Appreciate you. Like, surely in that ship somewhere that cost millions and millions of credits, there's a bottle of water. Or at the very least, if I go to my like room, I should be able to get water out of that. But apparently, no, you can't drink out of the sink or something. Like, boggles my mind. Am I just dumb? Am I not seeing it? It drives me crazy. Anyway, YouTube just notified me about your High on Life video saying it was uploaded 4 minutes ago, but you uploaded at 10 a.m. your time like an hour ago. Yeah. I really don't understand the internet or computers. Yeah, I don't know what YouTube's doing. It's sucky that if they have like just one issue with notifications going out, like a video you spent weeks working on can just go into the trash. Too rich to drink out of the tap? Maybe that's what it is. Does it save the server shards for every player so that everyone can see what you dropped, or only you can see it? I believe like there can be, let me think exactly what they said, because I watched a video on this. They said something about like with that server meshing that they plan on doing, pretty much everybody will be able to see everything. So instead of a server having, say, 100 players, a server will technically be able to host tens of thousands. That's what they eventually hope to do. Right now, my understanding is the server shards can host like 100 people at a time. And that's it. But eventually the server shards will all blend together. And so those shards will be part of like nodes, server nodes. And each node can host tens of thousands, while the broader server infrastructure can host millions of players, right? So it's very, very complicated. And they're trying to figure it out. But what's cool is that it actually seems to be working, which is even crazier. Let's see. So persistent entity streaming is the headline feature of Star Citizen Alpha 3.18. And while we didn't manage to release to live, so to everybody, before the end of 2022, it is currently in wave 1 of public test universe, the test bed wherein we harden patches with the community's help before we deem the patch stable enough for the live releases. And there are already lots of community videos and posts about the emergent gameplay that is enabled by the persistent entity streaming, especially when combined with other 3.18 features such as salvage and soft death, where the ship doesn't blow up into pieces but instead becomes disabled, allowing players to survive a once fatal event and attackers to board and potentially loot the disabled ship, which is pretty cool. So then he goes on. They've also added interesting things such as dynamic events with big citywide battles and things. Yeah, 100 players, 100 different players entering the atmosphere at once. And this might look like a staged event. We had that, if you guys weren't here, we did that stream where we were playing this, and we did a funeral for one of the guys. I think Herobrine was one of the bodies. But we did a funeral for some of the people we were playing with who were killed by another person who thought it was really funny to just kill people randomly. So we loaded them up into the ship, flew into the atmosphere of the planet, and then let them out of the back of the ship to send them off. And we lit flares, and it was like a whole thing. It was great. And so this type of thing happens all the time. Yeah, this type of thing happens all the time. It's actually quite fun. It is a sandbox. You know, they have mining stuff. They have combat missions, and you can play as a medic and go save people. There's all that stuff you can do. But some of the most fun that you'll have is just dicking around with your friends. Kind of like Sea of Thieves, you know, where it's just, yeah, I could go on and do missions and quests and things. But honestly, I have the most fun just getting with my friends and then getting super drunk and trying to jump off of the top mast onto the deck below. Like, you know, that's where the most fun comes from. A god tier funeral. You're damn right. It was the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but in Star Citizen, it was beautiful. It really was. It really was. It was great. This is what's particularly interesting to me. Another record-breaking year of growth. While our most passionate players test 3.18 in the PTU, and our developers take a well-deserved break, I wanted to share with you some truly momentous stats from this year that illustrate that Star Citizen had its best year yet and crossed some historical milestones that demonstrate this game we all love is finally breaking into the larger gaming consciousness with success that is greater and faster than we anticipated. This year, 2022, over 1 million unique players logged into Star Citizen and played our game, and they did so for more than 46 million hours. Our daily active users this year, in other words, unique players logging in each day, has grown 50% over the last year and is double what it was at the end of 2019. This year, we are also averaging over 240,000 monthly active users, which is 33% higher than our average monthly active users from last year, with highs of over 400,000 during May with this year's Invictus launch week. There's a lot of people that are playing this game and trying it out. Like a lot. Those of you who follow our funding tracker doubtless know that we already eclipsed all last year's revenues by mid-November, and we will have our first $100 million plus year ever, and by a fair margin. You can also read a more in-depth report of our 2021 financials here, but as great as 2021 was, which was remarkable for growth beyond the COVID-bolstered revenues of 2020, we managed to grow 30% beyond 2021. Where does all this revenue go? Into development, as we've hired more than ever before to continue building out Squadron 42 and our persistent universe teams. It's no secret that our two games and technology are among the most complex and complicated endeavors in the gaming and even tech industry. We're doing things with our engine that are truly groundbreaking, and it takes talent and time to achieve the ambitious goal we've set for ourselves. And so even as we grow, we invest all that growth back into our teams through hiring and retaining critical talent, which is good. Here are some charts reflecting that. New accounts per year. These are new accounts. So one of the perceptions people have had about Star Citizen is that it's like maybe 5,000 or 10,000 whales that have a ton of money, like 40-year-old guys that this is the one game they play and they spend a lot of money on it. But that's not actually the case. There are tons of new players. Like those diehard guys, if you spend $600 real world money on a ship in this game, you're not making a new account. You're using that old account you made back here. And you're not changing it because that's the account that has the really nice ship on it that you paid real money for. So with this, like, I don't know. It's just, it's crazy to see how many new accounts are coming into the fold. There's a ton of new people trying it. New ships. The alpha. 3.18 is getting close. The road to alpha 4.0. Pyro 3. It's a crazy planet. That's crazy. There's just a lot. There's a lot. The game is certainly very, very far away from being anywhere close to done. But I don't think this game will ever be done in the classical way that we talk about in video game development. I think it's always going to be getting new stuff piled into it. But it's really cool to see that it's continuing to grow and expand, and it's pretty crazy. The recent video from Bed Bananas really hyped the game up for people. I've met several players and streamers who joined the game just because of his movie-like video. Oh, that's good. That's awesome. I think that's the key. I think if they really want it to continue blowing up, they need to double down on these like YouTuber and streamer events. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a YouTuber and streamer, but I'm saying that because like the introductions people have had to this game through those outside sources is what's causing the continued growth. It's new faces, new people trying the game for the first time. I know a lot of people tried the game for the first time based off of like the video that I did on it, because they had just never seen the game before. They'd heard people talk about it, but they had never seen somebody actually just sit down and play it. And once they saw it, they're like, actually, that's pretty cool. And so then they wanted to try it and they hop on. So yeah, reading the comments, it's interesting to see that there are lots of people who never heard of it. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things, like, it's been in the public consciousness for so long that I think it makes sense that a lot of people have just kind of tuned it out at this point, because it's like, oh yeah, that's the game that's never coming out. Okay, yeah, whatever. And they just don't think about it, right? Turn their brain off to it. But it is coming. I'm coming. It's coming. We'll just have to see. But that persistent universe tech is pretty wild. And like I said, there's just nothing like it in the industry right now. Nobody's done anything close to that, as far as I'm aware, which is pretty freaking cool. I'll praise companies when they do really cool stuff with tech. I still insist the NPC system from Watch Dogs Legion that Ubisoft built is very, very impressive. That system's crazy. However, it just didn't make for a really fun game, right? Like they had the cool thing, but they didn't know how to turn it into a fun game. And the persistent entity streaming is one of those things where it's cool, but to implement it into a game is another thing. It looks like already there's a lot of fun with just dynamic stuff that you can do randomly using that tech. Again, like I said, having an entire planet at your disposal and then finding one little cave somewhere that you can stash stuff is awesome. I think they could have better native support for like base building, or perhaps for like setting up beacons for quick travel to those locations to retrieve loot that you've hidden in caves. If they could eventually get to the point where it's like got terraforming so you can actually dig your own caves and stuff, that would be awesome. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If you want to see the road to server meshing, here's an overview of a bunch of it. Look more into it. It's crazy tech. They're not lying when they say that there's not a lot of companies doing anything close to what they're doing. The other game that never comes out is GTA 6. Oh man, I would not be shocked if by the end of this year we know like that 2024 is the year, because they have taken tons of people off of development on GTA Online. They're pulling a ton of people out of it. Specifically to work on GTA 6. So they're working on it. This unofficial road to dynamic server meshing. Oh, yeah. So shards, server nodes, player item, shard transitions, crash and recovery, player reconnects, server mitigation or migration and creation, fleet manager, shard manager, replication layer, persistent entity streaming. Ugh. Just this chart gives me a headache. mean, it's pretty wild. They're doing a lot. Functional internally in development plan status unknown. Single shard. Oh, so eventually they just want to get to the point where it's just one big shard, like one central server that handles everything. That'd be crazy. But anyway, yeah. So that's Star Citizen, where they are right now. Making progress. More new players than you can shake a stick at. It's pretty wild. Just curious why to use 2 keyboards. I have 2 PCs. So one PC is there. One PC is underneath the desk that handles all of the streaming, video recording, all that stuff. So 2 separate PCs. I do have it set up so I can use one mouse using this little 3-button thing. I can swap between PCs with one keyboard and one mouse. So I can like copy and paste something from the gaming PC and then hit a button and then the mouse and keyboard switch and apply to the PC underneath the desk, the streaming PC, so I can paste stuff between them. But the reason I have a completely separate keyboard is just for the slight convenience when like playing games. Because then I can like write scripts and take notes without having to alt tab or pause the game. I can just immediately get into it. So it's a small point of convenience, but for a long time I didn't have the second keyboard. I got rid of it and put it in storage and just did the keyboard swapping. It's just, you know, both work. It's just a matter of convenience. Having 2 keyboards doesn't really hurt anything. It makes things a little more convenient. Michael Harris, thank you for the $1.99. Appreciate you. I feel dumb. I literally just realized your logo is LS rotated 45 degrees. Yeah, LS. Kind of looks like a flame too. Say the L is there, but it's also in the black negative space. Yeah. Double trouble. Off topic question, how much do you need? Do I need something like a Wave XLR for streaming and YouTubing? Wave XLR. Groovy. Oh, is this the audio mixer thing? So my understanding is that this thing is basically... Okay. So this thing is basically a mic amp, but it's just really small and minimalistic. What this would enable you to do, like this would empower you to go and use a nicer microphone, like a Shure SM7B is really popular, or this RE20 is really popular. Honestly, I don't think you need to start with that. I think you can start with a Yeti or something, or my personal favorite, and it's a mic I used for a long time, and it's going to be cheaper than a Yeti or anything like the big Yetis. The Audio-Technica AT2020. Just look on Amazon. AT2020. You can get it as a USB microphone or as an XLR. But if you get it as a USB microphone, you just plug it in and it just works. It sounds great. Get yourself a big pop filter because it'll pick up everything. But you get up close to that microphone and, ooh, baby, it'll sound amazing. So I would say that one, all in one, you don't need the audio mixer, you don't need the Wave XLR, you don't need that plus a mic. It's just a solid mic. If you're gonna invest like $400 or $500 in a microphone, I'm sure this one isn't bad, but I would be cautious because Elgato doesn't have a great like reputation as far as audio quality over the long term. Their stuff tends to degrade. But it might be good. I mean, I just haven't tested it, so I don't know. But I use a Go XLR for mine, and it works great. But before that, I used like a Behringer audio DAC, and that thing worked fine. It was about the price of this one, but it was, you know, just a little bigger. Achieves the same things, though. Thank you, Michael Harris, by the way. $1.99. Just appreciate say thank you for the content. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. I used the XLR AT2020 to record vocals from music. It's great. Yeah, the AT2020, Highly underrated. I think what it is, everybody saw every YouTuber and streamer and their mom was using a Shure SM7B. So everybody assumed if you use that, then you'll be famous and you'll be successful. Honestly, I think the mic's a little muted. I think it only sounds good on certain types of voices. And I just don't think that it's all that it's cracked up to be. It's a good microphone, but if like for $400, if you're starting out, there's a lot of other stuff you could put $400 towards to, get the most out of your money. Eventually you could upgrade there, but you certainly don't need to start there. Shure is very gain hungry. Yes. But Joe Rogan used that mic. Yeah, he does. Sure does. I think Joe Rogan's voice would sound better on an RE20 like this. I think that he'd be much better served using a mic like this, but he likes the Shure. Legit thought the Shure SM7B is so stupid, or legit though. You can get any broadcaster dynamic mic with decent IQ on it and you're golden. Yeah. No, the Shure is nice because it's tough. It's minimalistic. It looks good on camera. This RE20 is great, but it also, I have it in a pretty big shock mount. I used it for a while without the shock mount, and every time I touched the desk, it would, you'd hear it in the distance. It gets the job done, though. But I think my voice sounds better on this microphone than on the Shure. And I still use the Shure for, like, years. Years. It's a good microphone. It's just everybody's voice is a little bit different. But with sound stuff especially, I would always, I don't know, I'm very skeptical of like gaming brands doing audio stuff. The reason I like GoXLR is because it's a company made by sound engineers, not by like a gaming company trying to appeal to streamers. Whereas like if you go, the company that made this, my headphone DAC, you guys can see this. Oop, my headphone amp. This is a tube amplifier for headphones, and it's made by a company, a German family built it. It's called Sheet. Yeah, it sounds like shit, but it's whatever. But these guys, all they do is audio stuff, and everything they touch is amazing. Like the quality is unbelievable. So if you're looking for like headphone amps, they do, I think they have, I thought they had, no, these are just basic preamps and stuff. Maybe they don't. Yeah, here they've got their gaming gear. I don't know, all of their stuff is great. I guess they don't have XLR based amps or anything. But as a point of example, these are great options if you're looking for really good audio. Find a company that just does audio. That's at least my recommendation, because it's a different thing. Good morrow, Ert. Good morrow. The Magni, you got the Magni? Magni Plus. Oh, they swapped it out. Now it's called the Magni Plus. It's a widow baby. It's a widow. So they sit right there. But these things will power very nice headphones. And that was the thing. Like, these headphones are pretty meaty, and they require some heavy juice. And so I got the little tube amp. You can barely see the glow, but the tube amps actually start glowing when they're on. But that thing gets hot. It's like a little space heater. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Honestly, I recently tried the Sontronics Pro or Podcast Pro, and it's by far one of the best dynamic mics I've ever tried. It's handmade in the UK, comes with a lifetime warranty. Metal. Oh, crazy. Sontronics Podcast Pro. Interesting. Who knew? Who knew? What I could have told you was our next news story, which is that the Horizon Zero Dawn remake, which nobody asked for PS5, is not being developed by Guerrilla Games, allegedly. Okay, allegedly. Again, I don't know why anybody really gives a crap about this remake. It doesn't need a remake. I'm shocked anybody would buy it, but it's probably still going to sell tons of copies and do very, very well. Let's be completely honest. Why a remake? I don't know. I don't know. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Colin Moriarty, who you guys will know from Sacred Symbols. He's the guy that has like the "Don't Tread on Me" thing on Twitter. He got canceled for some reason. I don't even remember why. It's like a whole thing. I don't even know. But in the new episode of the program, he revealed one small interesting detail regarding Horizon Zero Dawn remake for PS5. Rumors, and by the way, I think think The Last of Us Part 1. Probably some new models, some new textures and stuff. But to say that they're remaking it is pretty generous. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far. Moriarty cannot confirm the details of the project with complete certainty, but claims that development of the updated game is being carried out without direct involvement of Guerrilla. According to him, he heard that some other team is working on a remake of Horizon Zero Dawn, but did not disclose who exactly, so as to not substitute his source. I don't think they mean substitute. That word doesn't make sense there. Anyway, he said, quote, "We're also assuming that Guerrilla is making the Horizon remake thing there, although if that's real, what I've heard is that it's another team. At another team." This whole article seems to be a bit of a train wreck. My guess would be that this is probably true. With Sony's modus operandi recently, the name of the game has been milk these franchises that have seen any modicum of success. And so in no way is it surprising to me that they would try to do a remake for PS5 of Horizon Zero Dawn, which will basically just be a remaster. It's frustrating. I find it really stupid. And I think it's burning a lot of goodwill, honestly. And plus, it's kind of like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Every time they do this, like, I think it diminishes the value of the term remake. So now every time they say, "Oh, we're remaking this game," everybody's going to look at it and be like, "Okay, but did you actually, or is it just like barely improved?" Because the big problem for Horizon, I think, in all of these comparisons is going to be that it came out on PC already. There's already a PC version of this out. So people are going to just look at like the reveal trailer for the PS5 version and be like, "Okay, well, it just looks like the PC version." Like, how much could they honestly change? Not much, I don't think. So I find this just to be ridiculous. But it reaffirms once again what I've said for a while, which is that Jim Ryan, the current head of PlayStation, he, to me, seems through and through like the Tim Cook of PlayStation. If you're not familiar, Tim Cook is the current CEO of Apple. This guy, you'll recognize him once you see him. Tim Cook, this guy, he took over after Steve Jobs died, or stepped down. Technically, he died a few months later, but he took over in 2011, and he has done a good job running it. And he's a fantastic manager, no doubt, but his time at Apple has pretty much been all about taking what was designed by Steve Jobs and the passion and creativity there, and then actively milking that thing dry. And he's been accused of like, basically causing all of the creativity and the energy in the company to get squished out. Now Apple is about maximizing profits first and then innovation second, which is the opposite of what Steve Jobs did. Steve Jobs was, we're going to have a successful business, but we're going to be successful because we create amazing products that our customers love, not because we invented, like, we released the 5th iPhone that looks identical to the previous one that didn't actually improve anything. And because we made the batteries, charge down so battery life gets terrible, so people are forced to upgrade. Like, everything about Tim Cook's time at Apple has been less about creativity and more about just trying to milk customers dry. And for Jim Ryan, it's the same exact thing. For Jim Ryan, this little bugaboo, everything about this guy screams businessman. It screams maximizing the bottom line. Like, I don't think for a second that this guy actively plays video games. I don't think for a freaking second that he sits down and grabs his controller after a long day at work. I don't buy it. Yeah, and you listen to him talk about gaming versus how Sean Layden, the previous guy who held his job, talked about gaming. Totally different. And every step of the way, everything we've found out about like the PS5, how they've approached development, how they've handled all of this stuff is just doesn't sit right. He probably can't even turn a PlayStation on. I'll be real, I could barely figure out how to turn on the last PlayStation. You remember like on those freaking was it the PS4? It was the OG PS4, the thick one, like heavy angles, where the button was like integrated into the angle of the thing, so you had to like press in the crack of the PS4. It was the most unintuitive thing ever. And I remember the first time I saw a PS4 and I tried to turn it on, I was like, what on earth? Where's the button? Where's the button? And they turned around and, you know, for the PS4 Slim, they reworked it. Same with the PS4 Pro. They reworked it and just made regular buttons because they're like, it's not worth the headache. We have so many. I can only imagine their support lines must have been flooded with people being like, I can't turn on the PS4. I bought it for my grandson and we can't figure it out. Yeah, I'm sure they're flooded with it. It's Babe. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you. Oh, you ordered a crepe?
No.
It's a really weird pizza.
With chocolate on it.
Yeah, and bananas. Thank you. How's baby? Is he throwing fits?
He's been pretty good.
He's been pretty good. I told him he woke up eating goldfish. So I mean, if that's not a great start to the day, I don't know what is.
I don't feel like a great parent for that, but
Yeah, goldfish, it's good. It's protein.
good chai with oat milk. It looks a little icy, but
That's okay. Yeah, usually when they do the sugar-free stuff,
I don't think the chai is sugar-free, but
the powder stuff.
yeah.
Usually that does come out a little powdery and then it kind of absorbs. So thank you. Much love. Say hi to baby.
No, I said Dad didn't say hi. He said goodbye.
Well, he'll go, Daddy. Dada. Dada. Love you. Dada. Lockie's adorable. He is my little fella. Did she enjoy spoiling your secret last stream? I think so. Yeah, she's like, did anybody catch it? Because she said it very quietly and quickly, and I was like, I don't know. For those of you who missed it last stream on Monday, Nikki is expecting again, so we have another baby on the way. So we're gonna have 2 babies in this house, Lachlan James and this next one. So 2023 is gonna be a crazy year, but due on June 10th. So my birthday is June 17th. So we have, like, if the baby's a week late, we'll share a birthday. You know, it's going to be fun. But that's why, like, thank you, Bad Done. And thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Imperium, thank you. Thank you, Jared, Arno, everybody. Thank you. That's why, like, I got really quiet about E3. Because I had said, like, 6 months ago, I was like, yeah, we're going to go to E3 and meet up with you guys. It's going to be great. Well, E3 is, like, June 13th or something. So, like, 3 days after the baby's born. I don't think that's in the cards. So that's why I got really quiet about E3 right around that time. Because we found out and I was like, I can't tell anybody. We got to be quiet and, you know, wait till we get a little further along. But now we're here. We did it. We made it. Wife of the year right there. You're very lucky. Oh, I know. She can't know though. It'll go to her head. Okay. But yes, thank you. Babe, baby, and baby. Yeah. Babe, baby, and baby. I think it'll be babe, boy, and baby. Because Lockie's getting big. Soon he's going to be boy. It's going to be a whole thing. You're an inspiration, Luke. You're honest, hardworking man with a beautiful traditional family. I hope to be like just like you in one day. Oh, Arnold, thank you so much. Thank you, Arnold. You know, we're having a good time. No complaints. And, you know, we're just chugging along. People, it's funny when people my age find out that, like, I'm a dad and then I kind of created my own job and work for myself and all of this. People get weird, especially about the kids, because they're like, I don't know, man. I don't feel ready for that at all. I don't think I'd be ever ready. And, like, I get that sentiment. I was talking to somebody I know who's like, no, they just turned 30. And they were saying like, oh man, I'm like 10 years away from feeling ready for that. And I told him, I was like, I don't think you're ever ready for kids, for one. I just don't think you're ever ready. It's a leap of faith that you kind of make. And you can prepare yourself as much as you can, but nobody's ever really ready for that, right? But secondly, it's worth taking that leap because I am a firm believer that responsibility breeds character, and the more responsibility you take on for yourself, the better a person you will become. I look back at some of the crap I would say like 5 years ago, and I'm baffled. I'm like, how did anyone stand being around me? Like, I cannot believe that. And, you know, it's potentially an issue because like I made YouTube videos 5 years ago and I said random crap in some of those videos. I'm like, who was I back then? Like, it's amazing to me. But I think it's because once you take responsibility on, you're forced to reflect a lot more and think, okay, is this who I want to be? Is this what I actually think? Is this how I want to be perceived? Is this the message I want to share? Is this how I want my son to view me? You know, it forces you to figure out what type of person you want to be and figure it out and just fix the problems. And so I think it makes you a better person. So if anybody out there is like kind of on the fence and thinking, maybe, you know, should I take that big step? Should I, you know, propose to this person who's special to me? Should I, you know, get that dog I've been wanting? It's going to be a lot of work, but should I finally go and do it? I would say responsibility tends to breed character. And so if it's scary, it's probably worth doing. Cheers to that. Ooh, spicy chai. Yeah, Mike, for real. It's, you can never be too prepped. Yeah, there's no purpose without responsibility. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't wait for the putt-putt. Dude, you remember putt-putt? Dude, I used to play the or Pajama Sam. Played Pajama Sam all the time back in the day. Oh, Ethan, thank you so much. Spitting knowledge dubs. Thank you. Responsibility. Ooh, spicy chai. Ooh, piece of candy. Great advice. Definitely need to keep that in mind as someone who has terrible anxiety. Yeah, Carl, I think I'm very anxious as well. I don't think I realized. Again, thank you, Ethan. I don't think I realized until I was doing commercial real estate and I had to like meet strangers and do cold calls and stuff. But I'm actually a very shy person. Like I like being a homebody. I like staying hidden away, which is weird because I make videos and publish them to thousands and thousands of people. But I'm actually quite shy. But what I've found is that pushing myself outside of my comfort zone tends to lead to some of the coolest experiences in life. And I'm always happy that I did it. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, okay, this is going to be a big step. This is going to be awkward and I'm nervous about it and anxious, but I'm going to do it. And I don't think I've ever had a moment where I did that and then was upset that I did it. Every time I'm like, I'm glad I did that. That was good. Kind of both, yeah. For one, I recuperate energy privately. Like, being around people drains me a lot, which I've heard is the definition of introvert. And then also, I'm shy just in that, like, I don't like really going up to strangers. I get weirded out when you're at like a party and like I see somebody go up and they're just like, hey, my name's David. Nice to meet you. And they're just going around making the rounds. I can't, like, I can do that if I turn my brain off and just force myself to do it, but it gets me very anxious. I get very stressful. And I'm just like, what's the big deal? Like, they're just going to be like, oh, hi, my name's Rebecca. And just like, you're going to meet somebody and it's going to be no big deal at all. But for some reason, my brain is just like, no, don't do it. It's not safe. You know, it's weird. Last year before I started therapy, I had anxiety attacks. Just thought about leaving the house to go shopping. It's crazy looking back on that. It's so small but huge to me. Oh, it's always baby steps. Like every little thing. Nobody like, I don't shame anybody for having, high anxiety or stressors and things like that. You know, we're all just trying to get through this ridiculous thing called life. And We all have different struggles. Some struggles are harder than others, but the only way that we all will get through this is if we help each other wherever we can. So I've said it before, if you guys ever need anything that you think I might be able to help with, don't hesitate to reach out. Same with like the Discord. We have amazing people on our Discord to chat with, and there's always somebody out there. There's always somebody out there. Best thing you can do is set an alarm for 15 minutes to change your wallpaper to a call from a number. It's the perfect app. That's actually funny. I saw that there is an app that you can set it to like call me in 15 minutes. It's like the bailout call app, and it'll just call you from a random number, and you can select like what it has you tell, or what it tells you through like an automated message, whether it's like your dog was attacked by another dog in the park, and this is your automated message telling you to come to this address. So like you can do that to have a built-in out, and then if it's going well, you just mute the phone and you're like, I'll answer that later. But if it's going badly, you pick it up and you're like, oh my God, I have to go. It's like a whole thing. People do that at dates. They do it. They'll set it for like 10 minutes after they arrive. And then if it's going well, they mute the phone and they continue the date. And if it's going poorly, they have a built-in out. Nikki told me about a date she had way back in the day, like right outside of high school, where she went on a date with a guy, and he was like a pastor's son, and he spent the entire date preaching to her. And then he ended their date early, made her pay because, and he told her this, because he said he had another date with a girl right after this. Like, dude's about to get slapped. Wow. I was like, I would have like flipped the table. If ever there was a time to use pepper spray, that's it. It was like, wow. But like, he was so sure of himself because he's like, oh, she'll be fine with this because it's actually like a gospel message. So was he Irish as a British person? I'm assuming he was Irish. Probably. You never know. The Irish, you just never know. Oh, you never know. Hold on. I need to let's see. I need to eat my crepe. What could we do or react to that would fill the time while I eat my crepe delicately? There's another... Oh, Penguin did another video on Logan Paul. I just can't, like... Again, is anybody surprised by this Logan Paul stuff? Who is still watching him? Like, who's still watching Logan Paul stuff? I don't get it. It's all like 12-year-old boys. And I just cannot imagine that this is going to convince them otherwise, like, to stop watching. A crepe react. Luke, can I get one of those shirts you're wearing? It's awesome. Yes, you can, James. I'm glad you asked. If you go, actually, this is a good chance to test. I don't actually know if this works. Exclamation point links. Is the bot gonna work? Doesn't look like it. I swear YouTube chat is so broken. It's just broken. Well, here's the link to lukestevenstv.com, and it is the site where you can check out the merch. We do have a lot more merch items coming. The designs are just taking a while. Might be procrastination on the artist's part. I like to mess with her, we poke fun. We
do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
But I'd like to think it's just because she's a perfectionist, so she's getting the designs really settled down. But in the meantime, while she's working on that, these designs are up right now, including this one and many others, including the 16 times the detail mug, which is my personal favorite. So there's lots of stuff. So check it out, lukestevenstv.com, if you are interested in some merch. Let's see, what else is there? Oh, I know what we could probably do. Hold on. So last night, we touched on it briefly, but last night a YouTuber who covers Harry Potter stuff like exclusively. He decided to react to my Hogwarts Legacy video, which apparently has actually been doing pretty well. I just looked at it. It's like almost 300,000 views after a few days. Pretty awesome. And it's funny. I got a text from one of my college buddies and he's like, dude, I'm so proud of you. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I just watched your Hogwarts Legacy video and you made a sports ball reference. And I was like, what did I even say? He's like, well, you said the company that's making this game used to play in the minor leagues and now they're being thrust into the big leagues. I was like, you know what? You're right. I did make a sports ball reference. I sure did. So like he did this stream where basically he was going into it. One of the things I've been blown away with is just how nice the community is. The Harry Potter Hogwarts community is crazy nice. Like these people are so sweet. I'm blown away. Like actually blown away. I will say that there were a few things that they said like implying that they had secret knowledge about like monetization things and sorts of things like that. I don't know how much of that is true. But yeah, we'll tackle it as we come to it. But this is the thing he streamed. I think we're going to have this guy on and we're going to do a collaboration where we talk about Hogwarts Legacy in a little bit more detail. But let's see. Where is it? There's the video. So yeah, he does seem like a very, very nice guy.
James said people had already been talking about this video on his Discord.
Again, it's really weird to me that people watch my videos and then talk about them in private Discords that I'm not privy to. It's just really, really weird to me. I'm weirded out by it. I don't know what to do about it.
And I put out the tweet, I just put up the video and started getting some comments right away for people like, what? Are you kidding me with this title? I'm like, calm down, calm down, calm down. It's a question. It's a question. All right, so.
Groovy music.
Ryan said, it's hard enough living a balanced enough life. I could watch you and James play it instead of playing it myself and be entertained enough to be happy. Dustin, we've seen...
What a freeze frame, too. The general vibe
so much
here
from the showcase and post
is that he's trying to encourage his community to not be like super dismissive of talking down the hype. But the general vibe is that these people are so freaking excited for Hogwarts Legacy that they cannot contain their hype. Like the top reaction to the message that he tweeted out about this video I made was, I understand it's good to be skeptical and not be too hyped up, but oh my God, I'm so excited. And I get that vibe, you know, I understand that. Oh yeah, I'm going to ask him, Carl, I'm going to ask him to react to this reaction of his reaction. So we're going to get really meta really quick. But I thought like they raised a couple of like sweet points. And I'm like, one of the things I'm really interested in is if we do end up doing a collab together, I want to ask them like straight up, what's your answer to people demanding that you boycott this game? Because all over Twitter, Instagram, people are saying if you play this game and give them money that you are part of the problem. Like you are enabling terrible people. And I would be really interested to see what these guys say to it, because I'm sure they deal with that question all the time too.
That Luke says here toward the end of his video, Expecto Go, what is up, my friend? We were just talking about you. Just talking about you. Thank you so much, Expecto Go, for continuing to support the channel. Then we had Dr. Sherbet. Oh wait, hold on. I already know Wizarding World content. No, as even if it does fail, I would have made friends and that. Dr. Sherbet, thank you, my friend. No, as even if it does fail, I would have made friends here, and that is what's most important. P.S. Thanks again for the merch. It's great.
How sweet is that? They're like, even if Hogwarts Legacy ends up being a terrible game, I will still be happy because I made friends getting hyped about it. What a sweet thing to say. I mean, I'd still be mad, but whatever. But what they said was this right here. So you can always expect thoughtful, detailed videos from Luke. Aw, sweet. Here's a recent one on the hype and expectation for Hogwarts Legacy. We'll discuss what I agree and disagree on tonight's live stream. He spent like 2.5 hours going through it. I'm not going to react to like the whole thing. Okay. Just for the record. And then this guy, Expecto Go, is actually the same guy right here that you might have recognized from that first reveal stream that they did. The collector's edition is so terrible. Which is funny. Like, I even got like this guy. He even said like, yeah, I agree with a lot of what you've said, especially with that damn collector's edition. That thing looks terrible, which I just find really funny. Even like the hardest core fans are like, yeah, that collector's edition is terrible. But like, look at this. I'll be on Replay Squad to hear your thoughts. That being said, we talked a little bit about this video this weekend. So like, they have a Discord just for Hogwarts Legacy hype. And in that Discord, they were talking about this video. And they said, having a skeptical look is healthy with anything, Hogwarts Legacy included. And although this creator doesn't know the things we know, which I don't really know what that's referring to. Like, the one common thing I've heard is that people say they've said and confirmed that there's not going to be microtransactions. I understand that they've said that, but here's the thing. They said that the evil, whatever, Dark Arts Arena is something you only get if you buy the enhanced edition or whatever they call it for extra. Or if you buy it separately after the game launches, if you didn't buy the better edition. So it's a thing you can buy. It's a transaction, as it were. But it's not a big transaction. It's not a transaction like a full game or a major DLC like expansion. So it's like a smaller transaction. Mayhaps a micro. Like a transaction micro. Whatever we would call that. And so I don't really get this point of refutation. Like, I understand that they're saying, no, they've said there's no or microtransactions. And they're saying maybe that's a way of just saying, I understand the concern about the Dark Arts Arena, but it's not something to be concerned about because they've already said that there aren't going to be microtransactions throughout the game for like buying crafting materials and stuff like that. And I would agree that that's comforting and that's good to hear, but I don't think that that quells the fears of them cutting out portions of the game that are done now just to toss in, like, you know, for quick bucks elsewhere. So I don't really see how that's a thing. But he goes on. His concerns or criticisms are valid from an outsider or outside perspective. It's also healthy to get a different perspective outside your echo chamber. That being said, I don't want anyone to feel judged for being excited for the game. We live in a society, lol, where it's cool to not be excited about anything, and I want to cultivate a place in the Hogwarts Legacy community where you can. And I think that's true. And I think that that's totally valid. And like, you listen to this guy on this stream that he was on, and he is giddy with excitement for Hogwarts Legacy. Like, actually giggling through most of the the presentation they did. And so I agree. I think it's fine to be excited about stuff. My concern is I just don't want people to end up being terribly disappointed if there are potentially problems. So I try to level people out. And I know sometimes that can come off as me just being a Debbie Downer, and I understand that that's kind of lame. But maybe that's just like my role is to be the Debbie Downer of the group. I think it's okay to be excited, but I don't think you should be needlessly hyped or overhyped. And my concern is that some people are starting to get to the point where it's approaching overhyped territory, at least in my opinion. I see what some people are saying about the game with some speculation and stuff, and it starts to feel like maybe we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, you know, maybe a little bit ahead of ourselves. Yeah, like this whole stream, he was like giggling. It was funny. Like I said at the time, he seemed like a really fun guy, but he was like giggling with excitement. So he's the perfect guy you could get. Let's see. Dark arts magic, jumping. Oh, did you guys hear about this? Apparently jumping, it was like huge news in the Hogwarts Legacy community. It was like a big thing, a big deal when people found out that you could jump in the game. Which, you know, it's kind of funny. So I guess we can watch this and see why it's a big deal. Real quick. Honestly, after Battlefield 2042, Saints Row, and Gotham Knights, nothing will ever disappoint me again. I'm so jaded. Luke isn't eating the crepe. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Well, I'll eat it while we go through this. I mean, I would agree. I think those games are great examples of why you just shouldn't get. I would say getting hyped in general is a recipe for disaster. In my view, if you're not hyped, but just excited or very interested, if the game's amazing, you're going to be all the more excited because it surpassed your expectations. And if the game sucks, you won't be that bummed because you didn't get overly hyped. You were like, yeah, no, I wasn't sold on it, so it's not a shocker. And so for me, it's just a win-win. However, I will say, I do think for some people, this process before the game comes out of just getting hyped and following every detail, this process is part of like the game for them in a weird way. Following the game before it launches is part of the game itself. It's part of the journey of playing the game and getting through it. So I think that that's part of it. That's why some people just kind of ignore the part of their brain that's like, well, maybe settle down a little and just let them run rampant. I understand that, but I will say that almost every time that's ever happened for somebody, it ends poorly. With the exceptions maybe being like Elden Ring lived up to the hype. I would say Red Dead 2 definitely lived up to the hype. And maybe Breath of the Wild. But those are like 3 games in like the last 10 years. And there were a lot of other games along the way that were hyped up that certainly did not live up to the hype, you know. Let's see. Think about it. The very last very hyped game. Oh yeah, both Rockstar titles. Yep. God of War Ragnarok. That's a good point, John. Ragnarok did as well. Ragnarok was amazing and had very high expectations. Jumping being this huge feature in games is funny because I'm so used to being a normal thing in platforms, I guess. Yeah, I think it's like in God of War 2018, the fact that you couldn't jump was pretty upsetting to a lot of people. They're like, he's the freaking God of War. He can't jump over like this little tree trunk. He's like, we must find another way. It's like, dude, you could just step over it. You'd be fine. Inbar, thank you so much. Thank you. But okay, let's see why jumping's a big deal while I eat my crepe.
Wonder what it would be like to simply tweet a single word and quickly rack up 29,000 likes? Well, if you're the Hogwarts Legacy Twitter account, you don't have to wonder because that's exactly what happened when they tweeted out the word jump. That's right, J-U-M-P. Now, when it comes to the whole jump button situation in Hogwarts Legacy, I feel like there are 2 groups of people out there. The first group of you is saying, did he really just make a video on a jump button? Oh wait, people have actually been asking about this jump button? Why does it matter? Why is it such a big deal? And then the other half of you is basically like,
please give us a jump button. We must have a jump button.
No exceptions.
The jump button has long been a staple of video games, and it's usually more of a story when a game doesn't have a jump button. But with Hogwarts Legacy carefully showing only footage of characters exploring on foot or by air, or even in the middle of combat, in fact, no player character has ever been seen jumping in the game until now. In fact, its curious absence is what led fans down the rabbit hole of speculation, wondering whether or not one would be included at all. And shockingly, surprisingly, throughout all the Hogwarts Legacy footage we had seen so far, there was never a clear example of a character jumping, which left many fans to wonder, and some fans, like me, to assume that there actually was no jump button. Perhaps they'd taken a new approach, like, say, the new God of War, which replaced a traditional jump button with a contextual jump button instead. Now, if you aren't familiar with this, think back to the old-school Legend of Zelda games such as Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. In these games, Link did not have a jump button like he does in Breath of the Wild. Now, if you ran across a ledge, Link would automatically jump. If you needed to climb somewhere, same thing. Very similar to what the recent God of War games have been doing, which is in contrast to the previous God of War games on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, which had a dedicated jump button and was really quite an important part of Kratos' arsenal. So does this whole confirmation of a jump button even matter? And if it does, what exactly does it mean for the gameplay? Well, that's what I'm going to explain today, and I think we can look at a recent example that will really help us to understand this. So let's take, for example, the recently crowned Game of the Year, Elden Ring. Now, for a lot of longtime From Software fans, especially fans...
Yeah, as far as I can tell, it would only be useful for like platforming, navigation, maybe some hidden secrets around levels and stuff. But I mean, it's a jump button. It's a thing. It's a thing. This just reminds me so much of like Mr. Matty Plays back in like 2014 for Fallout 4. I watched those videos so much, and he was hyping up every little bitty thing. There would be like, Bethesda would release a new t-shirt randomly on a Friday, and he's like, Friday starts with F. F standing for Fallout 4. They released 4 t-shirts. F for Friday, 4 for Fallout 4. They're telling us something. Like back in the day, it was fun. It was like, it's really stupid, but like it's fun when you're this hyped about games. Literally anything will get you more excited, and I think that that's fun and it's exciting and silly. My concern is coming out of what I hope to be a good place, where I don't want these people to get this hyped about the game to the point where they're probably even dreaming about it, and then just end up being like, you know, I don't want them to be that disappointed. So I'm trying to level them out, but I think they take it as me shitting on their parade.
Who had played the Souls games, Demon Souls, and even Bloodborne, one of the biggest pieces of information that came out in the lead up to the game was the fact that Elden Ring would be adding a dedicated jump button. Now, there are plenty of videos online, I'm sure.
That and the game teases you for being a virgin. It does indeed. It's pretty cruel.
That talk about the significance of this for the Souls series, some that really get into the technical details of how this matters in gameplay, but I'm going to keep it pretty simple for you here, and it really all comes down to one word: exploration. So let's take a look at how the jump button changed up the formula for the Souls series, and I think we'll come away with a better understanding of how it could play out in Hogwarts Legacy. One of the most
I got run over by that ball so many times. I can't even tell you.
Obvious ways it benefited Elden Ring and will likely benefit Hogwarts.
Like, I saw it coming. I knew it was coming every single time. And I run to one side, and somehow it just attracts to me. It's probably a magnetic ball attached and then attracted to my buns of steel.
Legacy is by opening up the overall sense of exploration and freedom to explore. By adding a jump button, the developers at From Software had more freedom to not only create a wide-ranging open world, but also one with plenty of verticality in both its landscape and the various physical...
I was hoping there would be a little more to this. It sounds like it's mainly just the jump button will allow you to jump places, which, yes, is true, indeed. But, you know, this just, again, reaffirms to me how much hype can really cause people to spin. I recommend you watch Podcast Now's video on your video. What is Podcast Now? Podcast Now. Hold on. My take on Luke Stevens' A Skeptical Look at Hogwarts Legacy video.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to give my take on Luke Stevens' video, A Skeptic's Look
Can I just say how thankful I am that people pronounce my name correctly now? For a long, long time, I had so many people. Luke Steffens. Drive me crazy. I mean, I don't care. People have been saying it like that since high school. Everybody, like, it's a 50-50 crapshoot. But for some reason recently, people have been pronouncing it correctly. It's weird.
So something that was floating around the internet, a lot of people, I think even like Retro Raconteur, talked about in his live stream. Expecto Go made like a statement on his Discord. So it's gotten people kind of riled up, or at least a good discussion. Now, I want to make a couple things clear before we go into this. This is a respectful take on what he said. I'm not here.
How dare you? There's no room for respect here.
To destroy his character, because I think honestly he is a good guy. I respect him. I've heard of him and watched some of his stuff in the past. I know he does like live stream discussions or discussions just with other creators. I think he did one with Mr. Matty Plays for Starfield. I really liked that, kind of taking two different looks at the same game but from two different kind of angles. So and by the way, one final thing which is kind of funny, I actually have recorded and it's ready to go. I haven't uploaded it, but I actually did one final video on our expectations for this game, and expectations is a lot of what Luke talks about in his video. So generally I get what he's going for. So it's a skeptic's look at Hogwarts. He's looking at it from the frame of let's not just think this game is going to be outrageously good just because, which I think is fine. And again, actually in the video that you haven't seen yet, I talk a lot about
This is so meta, it's weirding me out.
think this is going to be the game of the generation, but I do think it's going to be a really amazing game for certain people. We'll see for other people, and I go into it, so it'll be fun kind of do this and then that video after. But here's where I stand. I disagree pretty heavily with how he approached a skeptic's look. So throughout the entire video, he's looking at it mainly through negatives, like just trying to point out some potential flaws in the game. Again, not to like get ourselves mindlessly hyped up for it, which I understand, I actually get. The issue is, well, number one, he talks about how there's also all these positives with the game, and the only positive he gives in a 25-minute video is he talks about how accurate it is to lore, that the castle looks accurate to lore. He doesn't talk about combat, he doesn't talk about visuals, well, I guess besides how it is reflecting the lore. He doesn't talk about any other positive, even though he constantly says there are more positives. He never gives any besides just that the castle looks good. So that,
I mean, I guess I can understand this, but the video wasn't meant to be a puff piece, like the whole point of the video was to try and counter all of the things that look really good, which I thought at least I did a decent, I tried to make clear that there was a lot of things that looked really good about the game. But it wasn't a video where I was going to go in there and like say, yeah, so there's these concerning things, but there's also this list of 23 other things that I'm really pumped about. Of course there's things that look really good. If something came up naturally and organically in the conversation, then I would bring that up. But yeah, I would say the point of the skeptic was just saying like, there are a lot of good things, but like, I think it was one of the first things I said in the video. There's a lot of good things that they've shown, but there's been a lot of other games that have come along in the past that were very well previewed and that showed off things really well and got people hyped. But then we come to find out later that everything that was shown to us was very selectively chosen and that it wasn't reflective of the actual game's quality. So, I think that that's just a difference in maybe he was expecting something different out of the video. But his video could be summarized by he doesn't know the meaning of the word skepticism. That might be the thing. We'll see if this
that's
continues.
It's kind of one-sided, and I guess that's the point because it's called the skeptic's look at Hogwarts Legacy. Next thing is his skepticism. I don't agree with the skepticism, so I do believe there are reasons to be skeptical of this game. In fact, I've talked about it over 250 videos on this channel. I do think this game is not
Jesus Christ, 250 videos on one game. God almighty.
going to be a perfect game. Like, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I'm not saying that this game is going to be a flawless masterpiece, which I want to talk about kind of how he addressed that as well. But I do think there are going to be potentially some issues. Basically has 3 or 4 main issues with the game. Number one is its publisher, Warner Bros. And he spends a very long time talking about Gotham Knights and talking about how Gotham Knights was kind of a broken mess when it came out. Now,
I don't think it was a very long time. I think most of my time in that video was spent going through the previous games the developers done and then the monetization stuff. So
one, I don't actually think Gotham Knights was a broken. Now, it wasn't a great.
Hold on. You can't say shit like this and expect me to just sit here. Hold on.
Gotham Knights was kind of a broken mess when it came out. Now, number one, I don't actually think Gotham Knights was a broken. Now, it.
He immediately walks it back to. He's. I don't actually think that Gotham Knights was a broken. And now, like, immediately pulls it back. Maybe he can justify this with some sort of spell that he learned in Hogwarts Legacy, but I don't know how you, with a straight face, argue that Gotham Knights was not horribly broken at launch.
Wasn't a great game, but it came out and it worked kind of fine. Like, you didn't.
I'm sorry, dude. Dude, you make good content. You're a hard-working YouTuber. Nobody's doubting that. But if our standard is going to be that it ran kind of fine, That's not good. Oh, yeah, my car randomly stops on the highway when I'm driving. It just turns off, and then I drift into the snowbanks on the side of the road. But other than that, it runs kind of fine. Like, that's not good. That's not good, man.
It wasn't a cyberpunk situation. Now, was the game kind of empty? Could you argue the live service elements that were stripped away from that game? Yeah, you could. But he didn't really mention that. He just talked about how Gotham Knights didn't come out in the greatest condition, and because of that, you have to be worried for Hogwarts. That's not true at all. I don't agree with that in the slightest. Those are two completely different companies. Now, yes, you could say, well, they all fall under Warner Bros. WB Games, right? So they have kind of like this system in place for all their studios, and that is true. I mean, like, what happens in one studio?
So you just said it's not true, but now it's true. I don't get it, dude. Like, this is why I love doing those conversational videos with like Maddie, with Joe Raptor, hopefully with this other Harry Potter game guy soon, because I can just like sit down, and if they say something like that, you can challenge them and be like, okay, look in the camera and tell me with a straight face, like, was Gotham Knights polished or no? Yes or no? Lean yes, lean no. He'll say, no, it wasn't polished. I was like, okay. Was Gotham Knights broken for most people on launch? Lean yes, lean no. Yes. Okay. Was Gotham Knights published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment? Yes, no. Yes. Okay. Is that same publisher now directly involved in the budgeting, the scheduling, and the process of creating Hogwarts Legacy? Yes? No. And pretty quickly, you can just lead them down the path to see where you're coming from. But when somebody's, I think, simping, they kind of end up contradicting themselves a lot, which is what's started to happen here. I can already tell he's one of those guys that stretch their phrases way too much on his videos so they can reach the 10-minute mark. He's just a snake oil. I don't know. I mean, he seems like a really nice guy. It's just like, if you say like two contradicting things within 30 seconds, we're going to point it out. And if you like say something as ridiculous as Gotham Knights was not broken, and then you immediately walk it back, like, we're going to point that out, you know.
Of a certain publisher, you could maybe look for warning signs in another, but you also have to take a few steps back and say, well, let's look at each studio individually. You want to talk about WB Montreal? I kind of know my stuff. I feel with WB Montreal, they haven't made a game in 9 years, right? Their last game was Arkham Origins. The team that's...
Well, I mean, they worked on a couple of other games. They did supplemental work, but they didn't have their own release. That's correct. But it's not like they were just sitting around doing nothing for 9 years. So, you know, that's a big part of it. As for the other stuff, I mean, is this Cole? Sorry. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Well, he just said, look at the studio. So maybe let's see if he delves into the studio, because the studio, that's one that I'm probably most concerned about, because this studio's previous releases are not breathtaking.
There now, I actually don't even know if there's a single soul at WB Montreal right now that made Arkham Origins. You know who also isn't at WB Montreal? Anybody who works at Avalanche, right? They're different, and their talent levels are different. What they're good at and what they're bad at are different. Now, if you want to talk about live service and the attempts that maybe like Microtrain...
And I think this is something I think this is an honest, maybe misunderstanding. The reason I bring up the publisher is because publishers are the ones that set budgets, they set schedules, they set deadlines. They're the ones that are involved in that higher level stuff. So a lot of the time, games that end up getting rushed out, games that end up unpolished, that comes from scheduling, that comes from deadlines and limited budgets. And that's a publisher issue. I don't really fault the devs most of the time when it comes to lack of polish at launch. I think a lot of the time that comes down to the publisher just being like, nope, we're putting it out. Like for Cyberpunk, that was an upper level management issue in the processing and scheduling and budgeting issue, because the game wasn't ready. The devs were trying their best, but the game just wasn't ready, but they forced it out. So I think that this is just an honest, maybe miscommunication of, like, maybe he thinks that I'm saying that they're involved in the development of the game. That's not what I'm saying at all.
which he goes into, right? That's another element of Luke's video. That's fine, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the idea that because Gotham Knights came out in shaky conditions means Hogwarts would.
I thought it didn't.
They're two completely different studios, and that was a huge part of his video, is looking at WB Games, and they published Back for Blood, which wasn't that good, and they published, all this different stuff, and it's like, well, I guess, but like every publisher has some hits and some misses. For every Kingdom Hearts that Square Enix does, they make a Babylon's Fall, or they do something else. Does that mean I have to be worried for Kingdom Hearts 4? I guess maybe according to him, but
So he keeps saying maybe. Like, what is it, dude? Like, are you going to acknowledge? Like, the point of the video is not the game's going to be bad because Warner Brothers released Gotham Knights. That's not the point of the video. The point of the video is to say that there are things that can be interpreted as red flags and to show that these are not perfect institutions. They're people and they make mistakes. And the hope is that Hogwarts Legacy is not one such mistake. But, that's why we have to maintain a skeptical outlook and not be hopping on the bandwagon for no reason.
but not me. So, again, I'm not saying you have to discount or you don't even take a look at whatsoever the other teams kind of in their ecosystem, because I do think there's some similarities, and because they share technology and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think because Gotham Knights came out means literally anything. They're two completely different things. So.
But he just keeps saying, but maybe it does have an impact because they share technology and they're in the same purview and management's the same. But I don't think it has anything to do with it. I was like, but you just acknowledged that it did. Like tangentially, like you keep walking it back.
WB Games, Gotham Knights, that was a huge, thing that he kind of focused on. And then he focused on microtransactions and, kind of like paying for stuff. And this one, I can see a little bit more. I mean, me, even myself, I have talked about that Dark Arts Arena where I can see people thinking it's a big issue. I personally don't see the Dark Arts Arena as a gigantic thing. I guess some people do think it's which is fine. I mean, if that's what you want to think, that's fine. One thing to keep in mind, though, is they did actually say that there's going to be more arenas in the game. It's just that specific arena that they showed in the gameplay showcase 2, or Roman numeral 2, that's the one that you pay for. Now, is it weird that you made a gameplay showcase and 1/3 of it was showcasing a thing that's locked behind a paywall, which Luke brings up, and I will say that is very fine. Like, I understand that. Whether or not you think the Dark Arts Arena is a big deal, if you want to take a little, critical look there and kind of jab a little and say, well, it is a little weird that 1/3 of one of your showcases is just on something that's blocked behind a paywall, that is a little weird. I will say that. That's definitely a little weird. But I think
it just drives me crazy with fanboy types. Like, it's okay to say this is a problem. You don't have to apologize for everything. It's okay to acknowledge issues. Like, we'll respect you more. But for some reason, there's some block in people's heads when they get really hyped about something, whether it's Kojima stuff, whether it's Hogwarts Legacy stuff, whether it's Rockstar stuff, where people just refuse to acknowledge that there could be a problem. And it's like, a game can be great in all these ways. Like, if this circle cam is the game, and this circle cut out of the camera is great, but there's this little hole right up here, and this stuff sucks. You can still say that stuff sucks, and it's okay. Nobody's going to die. Everybody's going to be okay. You can still say that. And we'll look at you and be like, that's, you know what, fair. Yeah, all of this is great. This is all great, but this thing sucks. That sucks. Great, sucks. But for some reason, like, he's incapable of acknowledging that there could be a problem. And it's weird. It's weird. It's like, that part of the brain just shuts off the moment it brings into question that something could be wrong. You just, nope, don't think about it. It's fine. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. If you have a big deal, whatever, I don't care, but not a big deal for me.
I think he's putting a lot more into the Dark Arts Arena than we really need to, A, and that's his opinion versus my opinion. And number two, I also believe the idea of microtransactions in general is scaring him when there's no evidence of that in this game.
It's so scary. It's so scary. I think that this honestly was, again, a miscommunication. I'm not saying that they're going to fill the game with microtransactions and you're going to buy like craftable items and stuff. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Warner Brothers previously has shown a history of aggressive monetization, cutting out sections of their games before they even launch in order to sell it separately to people. And that's something I don't like in games, where they finish content for the game and instead of putting it in the game, they cut it out and make you pay for it separately. I don't like that. The game can still be great, but that part of it can suck. But people took this as me saying that they're going to have all of this microtransaction stuff in the game, and that's not what I'm saying. As for, like, I guarantee you he's about to bring up that they've already confirmed no microtransactions. Like I said, they've said that you can buy the Dark Arts Arena separately. So in a separate transaction, smaller than buying the full game. So like a small transaction, a micro transaction. Like you can buy the thing separately, probably for $5-10 when the game launches. You'll be able to buy it. So it's probably a definitional thing that they're saying no microtransactions in the game, but you will be able to buy DLC that adds sections of the game back in, even though they're already done. So this whole point is kind of a waste of time as far as I'm concerned, but I think it probably resulted from a miscommunication in the video.
He even brings up Shadow of War, which I'm very familiar with, and I do know the story. But also, like, again, that's WB Games inserting themselves into the discussion, into, Monolith, and demanding that they put microtransactions in Shadow of War. Now, I guess the point is that could happen here, but he never directly kind of says that. The closest he gets is talking about the Collector's Edition. Again, I'm actually in full agreement with him there. The Collector's Edition is bad.
See what I mean? Even the most hardcore fanboys can't defend the Collector's Edition. Like, yep, looks like ass. They can't even defend it.
It's a really, really bad Collector's Edition. It's cheap. It's not worth $300. At least all these things are, again, my opinion. So I agree there. And you could argue, I suppose, that is an indication that WB Games is kind of inserting themselves and saying, hey, because, to not blame Avalanche. Avalanche doesn't have a say over that anyway. So maybe WB Games goes to them and says, hey, let's rip people off with this Collector's Edition. And they say, well, I guess we have to, Overlords, right? So it could be something like that. You also have, I guess, the Dark Arts Arena. If your goal is to say, it's already a bad sign because, again, they made a whole part of the game and they're putting it aside, that doesn't, bode well for the future. I mean, I suppose, like, is it a good sign? I guess not, but
I guess not. So no, it's a bad sign. Pin it down. What are you saying? I kind of remember being in this spot early on in the YouTube career. You make some videos and you start to get a little bit of pushback and feedback that's maybe a little like critical. People saying, I disagree with you and you're stupid for thinking this. And you're not used to that pushback. So you start to go like, oh, well, okay, well, in my opinion, this is what it, and you start to like qualify every statement you make with, in my opinion. And, if it's good for you, great. If it's bad for you, whatever. Like, I don't care, but it's your opinion. And my opinion is that, like, you constantly are qualifying instead of just saying, yeah, this is dumb. And I don't care what you think. I think it's dumb. Once you get the confidence, just say what you think. And be like, nah, the collector's edition is ass. It's a bad sign and it looks terrible. Like, life is so much easier. It's just so much easier. What speed do you have this podcast now? Video set? Like 1.5, I think. So yeah, I remember these days constantly walking stuff back. I remember that. So I don't want to fault him for that, but I will say it gets extremely frustrating trying to pick apart what he's trying to say or argue when he keeps saying this is not a good sign. So is it a bad sign? I guess so. But it doesn't matter at all. And I don't think it's a bad sign at all. It's like, well, you just said like different things 3 separate times. Like, you're contradicting yourself constantly. It makes it really, really tough.
I think that's just WB Games, firstly, okay?
Confidence and consistency. Yeah, probably. I think it's okay to change your mind. I've changed my mind about a good number of things. But I think confidence and the ability to justify why you think something. And even if that justification is just, I don't like it. It's just not for me. Then that's okay. But the confidence to just assert something and stick to it, it goes a long way. Yeah, we were halfway through his video. I'm still waiting for his point. I think a lot of this, the jab about him not knowing what skepticism means might actually be fairly valid. Because he initially was upset that I didn't compliment the game enough and point out enough good things, when I feel like I did mention a good number of good things that are present. But I don't know. Let's see if he gets to the point.
And then also, I don't think there's evidence to show that this is going to be a reoccurring theme with the game. I do think there'll be DLC, but I think it'll be like substantial DLC. I don't think this is going to, again, like bring up Shadow of War. The microtransactions in Shadow of War actually hurt the game. Like, literally, they hurt the game. Whereas microtransactions here, so even what we have, right? So if you want to base it off of what we know, nothing hurts the game. Not a single thing. It adds to the game in terms of the Dark Arts Arena. But if you don't have that, you are not in a worse position at all.
Yeah, I would say based on what we know, I would agree. The problem is, we didn't know how much those microtransactions hurt Shadow of War until the game came out. Because guess what? Warner Brothers knew that wasn't going to bode too well with the audience. So they kept it hidden, kept it tucked behind. But if you had looked for warning signs before the game's launch, you could have seen that there were warning signs. And in this case, we can see warning signs all over the place. And that might not be actually completely true. I've actually vaguely remember there being a video where they showed off some early preview stuff, and I think there were microtransactions. So I'll take that back, actually. Now that my memory is coming back into focus. I do think that they did show off some microtransaction stuff before the game's launch, and it got like, there was a huge uproar. People were super pissed off. But either way, like he said, it doesn't affect the gameplay. I mean, it does though. Like the thing we know about right now, maybe it's not as aggressive as Shadow of War, but there's an entire area in the game that's there that you don't get to go inside of unless you give them more money. And that sucks. And guess that if that doesn't define affecting gameplay, like I don't know what does. Like that is the definition of affecting gameplay. You want to go and play the game in there? You can't. Give me money, please. Like that is as clear an example as you could possibly get.
Versus somebody who has it. You're not even. You're on the exact same playing field. Shadow of War is different. Shadow of War, you're not on the same playing field. All right, so you have that. There's no.
Again, there's two different tiers of people. Those who bought the more expensive version and those who didn't. They'll get to go into different areas of the game based on how much money they spent. There's a difference. That's not the same playing field. The people who paid more have another playing field to go into.
Evidence, even if you want to go based off evidence, there's no evidence that that's going to happen in Hogwarts. I guess to keep your mind open to the idea that maybe it could, but like that's not the game right now. Also, I would say I just tend to disagree with his take kind of in general because he doesn't really focus on like how about the things that I'm not saying like, oh, I'm perfect, I know all the right, wrong things to criticize the game, but he doesn't even go into like the game mechanics or like the day-night cycle or how the game doesn't remember your choices or the combat or the exploration. Like he goes over none of it, and you could find pros and cons in it if you looked at it, but he doesn't look at a single thing. It's literally WB Games and the games they published. Gotham Knights was bad, so this game is bad too, and then microtransactions. There's actually one more, and it's the studio itself in Avalanche. Now, this one, again, I feel like he's kind of on it. I don't really have too much negative to say. The main crux of this, and I actually saw somebody comment this on my video, maybe he watched this video, Luke's video, where like the last game they made was Cars 3, right? To pretend like Avalanche has always been this behemoth that maybe some people think it is nuts, right? Because it's not. This is a studio. But here's the thing. This studio was like formed. Like they specifically sought out people. They're ready to go for this kind of game. Now, can you make the argument that it still is their first big open world RPG game in Avalanche? Now, maybe a lot of these people have done it before in other places and more like support stuff, but coming all together, working on it for the first time, this is the first time they've done this. Yes, that is true. And that is something to watch. And in fact, I have called that out multiple times with Avalanche, right? Luke brings up Days Gone, which I do think is actually a pretty good example. Although, for them, I mean, they made Uncharted Golden Abyss. They didn't come from absolutely nothing. Like, I would say Uncharted Golden Abyss is a little bit higher up than, like, Cars 3. So actually, you could argue that, that Days Gone and Ben Studio is almost, like, too good, in comparison. But
does that not hurt your point? Like, Days Gone launched in a pretty rough state from a studio that you're saying was better prepared for that stage than this Avalanche company is. Like, I think you're actively arguing against your own point and you don't even realize it.
But it doesn't really matter. I mean, the point here is I understand it to a degree, but I also think if you don't mention it, you're completely discounting the fact that, but you adapt. Like, you look at Sucker Punch for Sony. They made a multiplayer thing. Like, Infamous 2 had a multiplayer thing, but, like, their games are single player. So what made us think that they could do multiplayer? Well, they hired people for it. And again, I'm not trying to be aggressive. I'm not trying to, do anything stupid here. But the point is, if you're going to pivot 180, I think there is a part of, as a consumer, that...
To be clear, I think we'd all prefer if you were more aggressive, because at least then you'd be more assertive. Like, that's... Honestly, the reason that this video is, I think, difficult for us to take is simply because, like, you're waffling and you keep going back and forth. If you just said, like, no, I don't think this monetization's an issue because I'm really excited and I don't think that it's a big deal to have an arena that's separate that you get access to based on how much money you spend. If you just said that, okay, we can deal with that. At least then you're not waffling back and forth, Yes, for the record, this is not the Avalanche that made Mad Max, nor Just Cause. It's a different Avalanche. There's two Avalanche studios. One is like Avalanche Studios. One is Avalanche Games or something. And one made Mad Max and Just Cause and is really well known and established in the industry. And then the other one made Cars 3 and a bunch of Disney games, and that's this company. So this company is not, they've never done a game anywhere near this size before. So, just to be clear.
Should be aware, okay, we should probably watch out for this because this is factually the first time they've done it. I get that. But also, when you kind of skip over and you don't really, like literally when you watch his video, it sounds like what he's saying is like the team that made Cars 3 were then given the script to make a Hogwarts Legacy game and they're just going right into it, which is not actually true, right? It's another kind of like Gotham Knights situation where it's like, teams swap. A lot of, and I mentioned WB Montreal, the people that made Origins aren't even there anymore, right? Most of them. So like teams move on, some people swap in, some people.
So, but like the inference from this thing he's saying is effectively like you can never look at a studio and try to draw information from previous releases because they might have hired new people in like since then. So if we're really hyped for The Last of Us Part 3, you can't do that because since The Last of Us Part 2, they might have hired some new people and fired some really good ones. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, yes, they can hire new people. Yes, they hire teams and employees that specialize in this stuff. But the team, the company is there. The reason you're pumped about FromSoft stuff is because the leadership is there. The executives have been there for decades, and they know how to make really good games. Yes, they hire new interns and new programmers and coders, but those people come in and are trained by the other people already at the studio. It's not like they're cleaning house and restarting with a new set of employees every year. Like, it's just nonsensical to try and argue that you can't look at previous games and then conclude that that might have an impact on how this game turns out. Like, the game could still be great. But my whole point was, this is a minor league team being thrust into the World Series. And every other time that I can think of that's happened, the game's launch, pretty rough. Pretty rough. Days Gone being a great example. And then he said that Days Gone was even better equipped. So I'm like, okay, well, you made my point for me. Okay. But, like, even with all of this, my point, I even qualified, I wonder if he'll bring this up, but I even qualified in that video. I said, I think it's a really good sign that they're delaying past gen versions and the Switch port. They're delaying that stuff by months so that they can just focus on current gen versions. That's awesome. That shows that they are prioritizing this. They're going to work on it till it's ready. That's good. I like that. Instead of trying to get it all ready at once, right? That's good. I'm actually heavily doubting that he's going to bring that up, though. I think he's just going to blow past it. Didn't Osobo hop into the AAA space with Plague Tale? Osobo's really weird, though, because they did Plague Tale, Innocence, and then they did Microsoft Flight Simulator. And then they went and did Plague Tale Requiem, even though Requiem is still technically an indie game based on the size of the studio. So Asobo Studio is just freaking weird. It's a really weird company that is both AAA and indie at the same time. It's bizarre. What about Rocksteady? They were also unknown before Asylum. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say that that's an example from 2009. So that's, game development has changed a lot in the last 13, 14 years. So it's different now. AAA games now versus 2009, way bigger budgets, way more stuff goes into it, way more complicated. But yeah, again, Hogwarts Legacy could be great, and I hope it's great. I think there's a lot of good signs. But to pretend as though none of this is something that you should consider is just kind of silly, to be completely fair. He's probably afraid of critiquing the game or pointing out its flaws because he thinks his audience will turn on him because they're fanboys too, most likely. I will say, I'm sure there is a little bit of the captive audience thing where he's got to walk this line very delicately and can't criticize it too heavily. So I'm sure that's a consideration. Let's see. I was hoping Luke would touch on something I'm skeptical about, which is fake choices. I noticed the first gameplay that the girl Zenobia asked the player to help her collect the gobstones, and the option the player chose is I can't make any promises, which sounds like a no. But then when the character said what the character actually said was, "I'll see what I can do," which sounds like a yes, and he ended up accepting the quest. Maybe this isn't indicative of all the interactions with NPCs. I don't know. I was not under the impression that Hogwarts Legacy was passing itself off as like a comprehensive RPG, but I mean, yeah, I guess I could throw a fit about that, but I don't know. That seems pretty trivial to me. Safs, shout out. I did agree with some of what he said. From Hogwarts, yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. No microtransactions, except that you can buy an arena separately. Like, so I don't know how much weight I put in that.
People swap out. They look for specialities, right? So if it's a multiplayer thing, they will look for people that have done it before. Guerrilla Games is actually doing that right now. They had done multiplayer, then they went to Horizon. They hired a bunch of experts in the open world RPG, arena, and then they're also doing a multiplayer thing. So they hire more multiplayer people. So you just hire. Now maybe you get people, maybe you don't, but you specifically look for people that are good at what you're trying to do. And so to not even mention that is kind of weird. It literally does sound like he's saying the Cars 3 team, just every single soul that worked on Cars 3, they were given the script to work on Hogwarts, which I don't.
It's really easy to argue against a straw man, because a straw man can't talk back, can't fight back. But at the end of the day, you're arguing against something that nobody was saying. So if you're just going to come in and say like, oh, well, Luke said this, but what it sounds like he's saying is this, and that's ridiculous. And I'd be like, that is ridiculous because you're the only one saying it. I didn't say that. You said that. And that seems to be kind of the common theme so far.
Don't believe that to be true. And that was the crux of his argument. So again,
it wasn't, though. It really wasn't. You just said that it sounds like he's saying this, and that was the crux of his argument. Like, nope, nobody said that but you, dude.
Generally, I am not opposed. This is not like I'm butthurt because of criticism towards Hogwarts. Like I'm bowing down to them. If you
I mean, it kind of sounds like it.
know me, that's the farthest thing from me, right? I'm obviously very interested in this game. I talk about this game a lot, but I have no, they don't owe me anything. I don't owe them anything, right? So I'm going to say what I want to say about this game.
I'm not sure if that's true, dude. You made 250 videos on this one game. I have made a ton of videos on The Witcher, tons of videos on Assassin's Creed. And, thousands and thousands of people have subbed to this channel just for Assassin's Creed stuff, for example. And I still called Assassin's Creed Valhalla a travesty of open world game development. I thought it was atrocious. And I'm not afraid to say that. But you seem mortified of saying anything slightly critical about Hogwarts Legacy. And it's weird. It's just kind of sad. Okay, let's wrap this up. We're almost there. 2x.
actually do believe to be a little skeptical. I actually have been one of the only actually Hogwarts Legacy people that cover Hogwarts quite often. I've probably been the most critical of them, right? So I'm not over here just saying nonstop positives. I also do throw in some negatives, but at the same time, this was just kind of a weird video to me. I don't really understand. There's 4 main points, and there was some things I agree with in I guess all of them, although the WB thing is really odd to me. So none of them are really the skepticisms that I would throw out there in regards to this game. He didn't really even look at the game itself. Oh, and one final thing. He talks a lot about, well, again, setting expectations, but I will say in comment to how he says it, he talks about how creators have a a duty to make sure, and I do agree with the idea that you should not lose your integrity. You shouldn't just say something to ride the wave. I agree with that. And I don't, so in that way, I don't think he's calling out honestly almost any, if any, of the Hogwarts creators that we all are part of a circle of. I don't really think he's doing that. I think if anything, he's probably calling.
Yeah, to be clear, I wasn't. I think it was in that video where I said people have a fiduciary duty to be true to their audiences and stuff. And I said, if you have somebody that calls a game the game of their dreams, and then it ends up being a pile of trash, you should question that. And you don't have to know too much about Young or anybody, but that was a little jab at Young because he called Cyberpunk 2077 the game of his dreams after playing it, and that's a problem, so that was a jab at Young. It wasn't a jab at anybody in the Harry Potter space.
Calling out some of the bigger channels that have just cover all this different stuff and then ride the wave of Hogwarts and just say it's the greatest thing of all time. But I also, and this is gonna be odd, I do look at it from the other way where it's I have no right to telling you what to think. And he kind of says that, but he takes it as an angle where it's you have to almost lower expectations. It's up to us to be very, very neutral and lower expectations so we're not all disappointed. And it's you guys can think whatever you want, literally whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm here to tell you what I think, and then you can agree or disagree. So if you, and I've said this before, if you want to be over the moon excited for this game, you have every right to. That's you. Now you got to be aware if things go south and then maybe you'll be disappointed. You have to be aware of that. But that's not up for me. I have nothing to do with that. If you want to be a really big skeptic and say, hey, this game's looking awful, or it's kind of like a prove it situation.
Yeah, that alone tells me he doesn't know what skeptical means. Like, one of the first things I say in the video is that skepticism and cynicism are different. Skepticism is not being convinced of something until there's adequate evidence to believe that thing. Cynicism is what he just referred to. He said, if you want to be hyper skeptical and say, hey, this game's looking awful, that's not skepticism. I think he just doesn't know what skepticism is. Is this a torture stream? It's kind of turning into one.
I have to wait till the game comes out. That's fine. I don't agree. I'm not with you. That's fine, because who cares what I think? It's up to you. So I think he puts too much on the creator when it's like, yeah, I'm the one making the videos, I suppose, but I've always looked at it as I'm just a voice, and you guys can hear me. I don't even think listening as in like following my instructions. No, I mean we don't really hold as much power as I think people think we do. We really don't. You guys have the option to do whatever you want, and I've always kind of as long as you respect me. In the same situation to Luke, like I respect the guy. This is not an attack. I don't hate him. I don't think he's a moron. Right? Like it's just me talking. That's literally it. If you want to say they're just words, they are just words. That's all this is. So and I view the same thing with you guys. I'm just talking. If you don't want to believe me, if you don't want to listen to me, if you don't want to follow instructions, you want to do your own thing. Good. You should do your own thing, and that's what the whole point of this is. So I'm not here to like boss you around either side. I'm not here to tell you that you can't think the game is going to be a disaster in the same way that I'm not here to tell you that you can't think the game is going to be the greatest game of all time. I don't agree. I don't think the game's going to be the greatest game of all time, but who am I to tell you what to think? That's not up to me, right? So that's how I've approached it, and I'm going to continue to. So I'll leave a link to his video in the description below if you guys want to watch it. Give him your thoughts respectfully and peacefully, just like everybody else, right? And if not, if you don't want to, who cares? Again, doesn't actually matter. Thank you all for watching, and I hope
Yeah, I would say, so for one, podcast now. I don't know your real name. I'm sorry. But I would say, for one, I think you seem like a nice guy. My point of maybe advice would be, for one, I would heavily encourage you to be a little bit more assertive in your dialogue, because there were many times where you would say something and then walk it back, say something, walk it back, and it went back and forth like that. If you just said, I don't think this is a problem because of this, and you just leave it there. No need for maybes, no need for hems and haws, no need for any of that stuff. Imperium. God damn it. So I would say that. As for this stuff, I am not joking. I'm not saying anything. I do think you actually misunderstand what skepticism is. Like I said in the video, it is about not being convinced of something until there's adequate evidence. And if we're looking at Hogwarts Legacy, we start from zero and then we evaluate the evidence. And the point of the video was to look at not just the positive evidence, which has everybody hyped. We started in the video basically saying, hey, listen, everybody's pretty hyped about this game. And because of that, we're going to start kind of with the premise that people are excited for this. And then we're going to evaluate the downsides and the potential hiccups that we'll run into, because there's issues. So we evaluate the positives over here on the right, and then on the other side, or I guess if I flip it, over here we have the positives, and then over here we have the negatives, which nobody really is referencing, which is that the publisher has a spotty history, the developer has no history of games of this size, things like that. And then from that, we should end up settling somewhere in the middle of being like, it looks good, and leaving a little bit more rationally in the center. But you're casually throwing out stuff. If you want to be hyper skeptical and just be like, this looks awful, that's not skepticism. And if you say that, it just tells me you do not understand what skepticism is. So I would just encourage you to kind of dig into that a little bit. As for other stuff, I mean, I'm just a arrogant prick, but I don't feel like there was a lot for me to take away from that, because I think most of the complaints came from a misunderstanding. So there's that. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say. You are, but we love you. A good prick. Yeah. No, what are you gonna do? This is painful. Yeah, I don't know if we'll turn that into a stream clip or something. Maybe we will. I'm sure he'll respond to my response. Like I don't want to be mean. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like if you're going to kind of react to my content, then I feel justified in reacting to yours. And especially if you are constantly contradicting yourself, I feel like, in an attempt to critique me, I feel like that's fair game. Luke's new Keemstar. Oh god. Oh god. By the way, Luke, what's your opinion on Jason Schreier's tweet about studios taking a long time to make game? If it starts in development today, it'd be ready for the PS6. I did see that that tweet, and it's true. No, it's insane. Games take a long time to make nowadays. And so if a game entered development now, it wouldn't be ready until the PlayStation 6, which is ridiculous. But that's just how it is. That's why, like, I think saying, like we said earlier, AAA game in 2009, like they made Arkham City in 2 years. 2. Nowadays, anything that, any of these big studios touch is going to take 6 to 7 years. It's ridiculous. Hopefully some of the new tech that they're putting out and the AI stuff is going to get to the point where they can really start to crank this stuff up a little faster, but I don't know. We'll just see. Yeah, I do think it is time for like Star Wars. I need a game. We got to do a palate cleanser after that. We knew this was a risk, to be fair. We knew that there was the potential for the video to be pretty cringe. Whenever you start to delve into fanboyism, you're walking into a minefield. There it is. Play. Okay. It's booting up. Thoughts on Ubisoft's open world Star Wars game? Tom Henderson talks about it in an article. Did I have that article pulled up? Hold on. Yes, I do. This article, actually. So it's funny you bring that up. This, while the game's booting up, I'll just pull this up. This, in case you were not familiar with it, everybody. Ubisoft creative director teases big Star Wars news in 2023. If you weren't aware, basically this studio, massive, underneath Ubisoft's umbrella, has been working on a Star Wars game for a while. It was almost 24 months ago, 2 years. It's crazy. Time flies. 2 years ago, when we first learned that Ubisoft Studio Massive Entertainment, the team responsible for acclaimed titles like The Division 2, were at work on a game in the Star Wars universe. The prospect, given the impressive quality of their last work, has left fans incredibly excited for what might be next to come. Or might come next. I can't read. And so when the creative director, Julian Garrity, maybe, speaks, it's worth sitting up to pay attention. Well, in what must be one of the best New Year gestures to gaming Star Wars fans, Garrity has spoken, and it bodes well for those looking to learn more about this hotly anticipated Star Wars game. What he said, he tweeted out, pull up the full thing. Happy New Year to you all. 2023 is going to be a huge year for us. Join the adventure. This seems to have sparked quite some interest. To be clear, I meant that 2023 will be a huge year for our teams building our game, which you could be part of. For official news, keep an eye on Ubisoft. So to be clear, I don't think this means that the game's coming out this year. I think this means that maybe we'll see a trailer. Maybe we'll see something. And they're going to be hard at work on it. But hold on. When did The Division come out? The Division. Because that was the same team, right? Yeah. 2016. The Division 2, 19. So they pumped those games out in 3 years. This was a more inline sequel, so people said it was like The Division 1.5. But that's pretty quick turnaround. But Star Wars is like a whole other beast. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm waiting for really good Star Wars games. I like Star Wars as a franchise. It just feels like every time anybody tries to touch it, it just goes poorly. I'm not crazy into Star Wars, to be clear, because my name's Luke, and so I've had to deal with this crap all my life. Luke, I'm your father. My whole life. So I'm not crazy into Star Wars, but I do like a good Star Wars game, if I am being completely real. I think. Okay. Oh. So, if I remember correctly, we are in Zepho We're going to head down here. The tomb. We're going to go through the... Okay. Sorry, this save I set up yesterday and then I kind of spaced it. So I don't really know how far in we are. I've got to be like maybe 5-6 hours in. Nothing crazy. But we're going through this, and we are also playing on Jedi Master, which is the hardest difficulty. And so far it's gone well. You know, it's got some issues here and there, but it's gone well. Yeah, the quote is actually, "No, I am your father." Yeah, but everybody comes up to me and says, "Luke, I am your father," because they're such huge Star Wars fans that they misquote it to me. Imagine that disrespect. You're gonna like troll me with the "Luke, I'm your father" thing and then get the quote wrong. The unmitigated gall. Look, what's your thoughts on it apparently being like No Man's Sky? You mean the game that they're working on, that Massive's working on? Really? I don't know about that. If that's confirmed, that's weird. Hold on, I've got to start recording.
We found it. Feels different than the other tomb.
Feels
No,
big chungus different.
I don't like it.
But that's your comeback, Luke. Call him out, and then you're the actual fan. That actually would be kind of funny. I should start doing that. Actually, it's "No, I am your father."
I found it.
Dumbass. And then I walk away. Then my grandma's like, "What?"
Why didn't you tell me?
Because she's a liar.
Battlefront 3 is cursed. Dude, for real.
How?
See that stuttering?
The moment you tried to
The stuttering still happens. It's still a thing.
tried to contact her. Slicing encrypted transmissions was always a path.
Lord Evil Zeus. Hey, Luke, to Ian after a month. Hope you're well. I am well. Thanks for coming out, my friend.
That I haven't perfected.
Oh my god. Am I gonna be like that? Was it a Kotaku reviewer who couldn't get past the tutorial of Cuphead? Is that gonna be me now? I can't get past this one platforming section. There we go. Goodness gracious. It's a skill issue. Yeah, for real. Does it stutter on console? I had horrible problems on Series or 1X, but on the Series consoles it might be fine. I don't know. This game I've always just had terrible luck with. I don't know why. This was a terrible PC port. Those stutters are unreal. Gives me Vietnam flashbacks to Gotham Knights. It's always Unreal Engine stuff, dude. Drives me crazy. Oh, this guy sucks.
Mind tossing me a stim?
Oh, God.
BD, here.
He's just big, slow, and he hits like a truck. Zero deaths. Unless you count the deaths falling into the chasm. That was part of it. The skill tree sucks in Fallen Order. It's not really a skill tree. It's like, I mean, everybody ends up with the same skills, so I wouldn't even call it a skill tree. So I would agree. As a skill tree, it sucks. Oh no, the bar is broken. They broke the bar. Okay. I see something shiny. It's nothing, okay. He's so cute. What's your take on why developers are not doing skill trees these days? And I just think like every 5 years there's a new meta, and the meta for the last 10 years has been every game has to be an RPG, even though like nobody really wants that. And so that was the meta. And now I think honestly what we're probably going to see is the meta shift towards Elden Ring light. So we're going to see every studio trying to put boss fights in their games, and every studio is going to have, you know, the totally unguided open world, and that's going to be the new meta. I guarantee you. The difference is now, like, it takes 6 years for big games to be made, so we're not going to see it for a while, but I would guess. Cam Monaghan plays a good Joker in Gotham. I never saw it, but I know some people really liked his performance. Like, you see a solid Star Wars game. Oh. No, help me. You fight him. Oh, he did. I was trying to run past him. It didn't end well. That might have been a mistake. Stop. Get out of the animation. Let me just squat and check this out. But yeah, I think like every 5 years or so there's a new meta. And it just depends on which they choose to pursue. Ghost of Tsushima 2 will have Moonveil and Rivers of Blood. Dude, Ghost of Tsushima 2 cannot get here soon enough. I need to stop trying to read chat while I'm fighting people. I'm not that good. What? Sucks to suck. Okay, can I open this thing now? Force push on the big ones. I'll try that. Let's see. What about attack animations? Very limited number of attack animations considering having a single weapon. Very disappointing. I would agree. Yeah, no. There's the animation work in this game, I think, is the weakest point. Watch how he runs. Watch his legs, specifically from his knees down. What is he doing? That's not how humans run. Like, he's squatted too far low. He doesn't bounce up and down enough. Like, the whole thing just looks stupid. So I think if they first priority should be improvements to those animation systems. They need some love. They need some love. Okay, where was I going? What am I doing? There's that platform I was just at. Can I get down there? There is a ledge. All the way down there. I don't know the best way. Oh no, that's the ledge I was at before. Okay, so this is... Okay, that's not what I need. That must have been like an optional thing. Oh, I remember first time I played this, I got to this area and then all of these guys despawned in one, like, fell swoop.
Another step.
Trying to get some space, damn it. Excuse you. Jeez, man. Yeah, the swarms of enemies I've never liked. Okay. That was more difficult than it should have been. Let's see. Look, it says Tom Henderson article from Twitter that it apparently has seamless galaxy with jump between systems and customizable character and No Man's Sky similarities. Oh. I mean, if that's true, that's freaking awesome. And if they get that working, that's awesome. See, like, did you see that? It's gonna do it again. No, it's not. If that's true, that's awesome. I would love that. Because I have actually gotten really into the space stuff recently. I was never big into sci-fi stuff, but recently I've gotten into it, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's good stuff.
Very nice.
I'll go through the door. The floating body? Oh, they all despawned. See, this is another one of the cool things about that Star Citizen persistent universe thing. If somebody died, the body would stay there, and they could have the body stay there forever until it's like buried or something. Imagine that in like Assassin's Creed. You assassinate somebody, and the body stays there in the desert or wherever it is until it's moved and buried. Forever. It just stays there. Just saw your review on High on Life. And now you want higher on life. Always, dude. They should call it something like that. That would actually be pretty funny. Does it appear dark to you guys? I can't tell if it's just because I have all the streaming lights on. It doesn't look bad. Ooh. Get away from me, Satan!
BD.
Thought I could cut it down. I cannot. Is there another thing to activate the magnet crap? Oh, damn. The article mentioned wasn't Tom Henderson's, but Inside Gaming's. He retweeted it. Could you read it after? Yeah, no, I'd be down. If you could find the link to it and put it in chat, that would make it even easier. Okay, I think it's back here. I've got to... Thwack. Huh. Dude, these puzzle sections were always the worst part of the game. They're just like, you want to be a Jedi, you want to go fight Sith Lords, and instead you've just got to run around pushing blocks. Red is pull. Yeah, I don't have pull yet. Okay. Is he gonna be okay? I don't know. Me. That always will feel satisfying. I don't care what anyone says. That will always just feel good. Oop. I tried to force the vine away. I remember I knew somebody at like an elementary school no, it was a chess tournament when I was like 11 or 12. I was young. And there was a kid there who was trying to convince me that the Force was real because I couldn't prove the Force wasn't real. was like, that's some foolproof logic right there.
More of my soldiers breach this tomb every minute.
Afraid to face
I remember
it
being a
yourself?
kid, a little kid, and thinking, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. And I was a child.
Just ignore her.
Ooh. Oh, now I'm out of force juice. My force goo is empty. Why did you do that? The game is so clunky, dude. The game's so clunky. Oh, I'll finish this guy by rolling off the cliff. That makes sense. Luke was born skeptical. I don't think, I mean, for a long time I wasn't. When I talk about like 5 years ago, some of the crap I would say, like I remember saying random stuff about like the Clintons in the Batman Arkham series video. Oh, Jesus. I have like no health either. Can I just run away? I have like no health. Like I'm gonna die and then I'm gonna have to go all the way back. And I don't want to do that. I'm just gonna try to go around you, dude. Try not to jump off a cliff. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get up there, jump across as quick as I can. Yeah, Reformed Orthodox Rabbi. I just like, there's a time in my life where I was very non-critical and I was making YouTube videos around the same time, I'm sure. And I cringe every time I think of it. And we've grown a lot. We're much different. I'm a much different person than I was even just like 5 years ago. I see you. Oh. I live for the chase. No, not like this. Not like this. Come back down here. We'll take him down easy. Will you? Dude, I'm so... Oh, crap. What do I do here? Maybe again? Come out, Jedi. Gotcha. I don't know. I like the visual feedback of BD's light turns red when your health is low. Yeah, I do like. I think they could double down on that even more in the next game and just have like the health bar just through that light. I think that'd be really cool. Stuff like that. I love those super subtle UI things. Oh, wait a second. Wait, no, then that opens up there. That goes there. Scared of getting hit? I think they want me to backtrack. Yeah, I'm scared of getting hit. I'm like on death's door. And then I think I have to climb up there and then jump down onto that little tree. And then I can cross. Giving up on this fight? I think that's my only way. Or do I have to slow it? Is that what they want me to do? I have to use my force ability. But I'm almost out of force juice. I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna choke. No? Okay. If they wanted me to use the force for the puzzle, I don't think they do put it there because I can't use the force if I don't have enough capacity. Roll, damn you. I guess I will. I think I'm gonna have to jump down. I don't know why else they'd put that log there. Yeah, you guys can laugh and watch me squirm. Oh, but I can't jump across that way now. Okay, so then it's gotta be over here. Okay. 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 Please hold. Am I just gonna use all my force stuff doing that? I'm a genius. Like Kanye, I'm a genius, motherfucking voice of a generation. Built like I'm different. Solving puzzles like I'm Rain Man. Oh, those guys suck. Oh, maybe they'll get the jump on him. I've never wanted a place to rest so much.
Jedi.
You have a lightsaber! Stab him in the head! Like, just down like that! Damn it, dude. Yeah, I don't really... I know it's like the funny cringe thing for a YouTuber to be like, lol, that wasn't fair. The game's broken. That one felt... That didn't feel fair. I hate to be that guy. That one didn't feel fair. Hold on, it's hot. I'm going to turn on the AC. So ignore the little noisy, like, you'll hear in the background when I talk. Luke's gots to have his air conditioning. Okay, now we know what we're doing, though. All the way back. You see this? All the way back.
He's above us. Someone else take him down. Jedi's on the move. Shooting at the target.
All the way back. Oh, I could have rested at this. Okay. Oops. Oops. I think what it was, he was blowing the flame, and then I dove into the flame, but I thought if I hit X, it would kill him before I would take damage from the flame, but that's not how it worked. Mass push. We'll do that one. See, like, it's a skill tree, but everybody's going to unlock the same abilities by the time you get the next round. So you're not actually, it's not a tree. It's just like a net, maybe? A web? Everybody ends up in the same place.
Who's over there?
Dude, it would suck to be a stormtrooper in this world. People just pushing you off cliffs like it's nothing. No jump. We'll just circle this. It's a skilled tunnel. Yeah, that works. And we run back to where we were. Man, just played this game for the first time a few weeks ago and platinumed it. Super hyped for the improvements they will make in the Survivor. Yeah, I thought this game was great. And it's still very clunky. So there's a lot of room for improvement. Why are you aiming away? Stop it.
You got it. Fix yourself. Let's end it.
Like, that's pretty badass. I'll give him that. Of course, there he is. Is it even worth killing him?
Traitor. You are a threat and must be stopped. What?
I remember hating those guys the first time I played this. It's like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. The sweet sense of accomplishment. It's okay, I feel accomplished enough. I feel good. Don't need it. I'll manage. Load that. Just barely. Rat just goes flying. Okay, then here we go here. Climb up. And this guy's down here. Don't you dare.
Can't take the pressure.
It's like if he falls off that freaking ledge. Okay. We made it. Ah, my old foe. We meet again. That felt good. Let's see. Don't y'all hate games that make you go back and forth so much to advance? It does. I mean, it starts to feel like a little tedious, for sure. I don't like it when
Imagine the artifacts the Empire
like it just starts to feel lazy. I felt like that in God of War 2018, where we just kept going back to the same places over and over again. Thought that was a little annoying. So I think it can be overdone.
expendable resources.
You're a monster.
I am what Dad made me.
One more idea. I was gonna freeze them and then push them, but if I can just push them, that's even better. And this will open up into the main room. Of course. Help me, rat! Help me and I shall let you live!
Toss me one, BD.
Just leave him. Not my problem anymore.
Think we should check that out? Intruder cannot bypass this outpost. I can't land a hit. Making aim. I'm done with this one.
I've taken the artifact back to my ship
There we
for
go.
analysis. Pity you couldn't make it.
Feels good. Feels good.
Doesn't matter what you steal.
I really wish we saw Purge Troopers and Rebels. I feel like they could pose a real threat to the Ghost Crew. Try a parry more. Yeah, no, definitely for the purple guy, parrying's the way to go. I've just found, like, most of the time you don't need to kill him. And so if, like, I practice them, I'm sure I could get better and it'd be fine. But most of the time I'm like, I'll just run past him.
Lee Cameron donated £5 through Super
Oh,
Chat.
thank you, Lee.
The girl that played Dina in Last of Us 2 was just mocap and a different person's voice in real life. She is actually Irish. Last of Us 2 is weird magic.
Really? Irish. She played Dina, mocapped as a different person's voice in real life. She is actually Irish. That's crazy. The magic of games. I still insist it would be so weird to see yourself in something like that. It's your face and body, but it's not your voice. Like, that'd be weird. Okay. Squeeze in the cracks. What are your thoughts on the RoboCop game made by the same team behind Terminator Resistance? I did not know that was a thing. Do you wish enemies actually got cut in half when sliced with a lightsaber? Actually, yes, John. I've been waiting for a really gritty Star Wars game for a long time. I don't know if we'll ever get it because it's owned by Disney now, but I think that that would do very, very well. I mean, look at Logan. Logan as like a super dark and gritty R-rated Wolverine movie did great. And I think a super dark and gritty Star Wars game would do great. But I don't know if Disney will ever do it.
They haven't seen us.
Like, you're slicing people with a laser sword. It should do some damage. It should mess people up. This is a cool set piece, but I don't know. The puzzling drives me crazy.
I noticed something while examining this sarcophagus. It's a very convenient location to dispose of nuisances.
You lured me here. Was this your plan all along?
You truly have the wits of a scrapper.
That's mean.
Insurgent, straight ahead. After him. Blast! All Jedi must die. Running again. Empire strengthens me. Yes, please. Death to the Jedi.
Oh no! Flashback.
Padawan, where is the Force?
Everywhere. It is within me. It surrounds me.
Just so. It connects you. There will be times when emotion, pain, or exhaustion trick you. You will feel cut off, isolated. This is an illusion. Your lightsaber lies there, out of reach, but you remain connected through the Force. Feel that energy around you and summon your weapon.
No.
Force is within you, around you, connecting you to your weapon.
The Force is inside of me. What? Nothing. Shut up.
Relax, Padawan.
Relax your butt.
You must ignore all distraction.
Force is with me. It connects us. Yeah, I think so.
Why? Why would I wanted to do? Why would I have wanted to do that? I don't. It's like Assassin's Creed all over again. It's like no part of me wanted to do that. Why did you make me do that?
You survived.
Not part of your plan?
Luckily, I always allow.
Okay. We have the pull. It was the lag. Yeah, exactly.
We've got an intruder here.
Crunch.
We'll take you down. You won't get me.
Stim BD.
And I'm out of force. Yeah. I ran out of force goo. Ugh. George Lucas came out with a great way to have dismemberment without blood in the 70s. It's not like Star Wars was ever gory. I don't understand why they can't just do that. Yeah, I mean, I do find it really weird. Disney is... I don't think Star Wars is considered to be like a super kiddie-friendly franchise either. Like, what 6-year-olds do you know who are like really into the Phantom Menace? I'm trying to get fancy. Stop messing with it.
I can't hit him. I hit him.
Oh my God.
I need help.
We'll vanquish you. He's wounded.
Jesus.
Help BD.
Okay. The 6-year-old who liked the Phantom Menace. I love the Phantom. Okay. Would you have been like horrified if there was like slight gore involved? Or would it have been more that your parents would have been horrified? For me, it would have been my parents. I think they're like Disney at this point is catering far more to the parents than they are to the kids' well-being, you know? Yeah, being a kid in theater and hearing everybody argue about trade disputes. Yeah, I will say, I understand a lot more about Star Wars now than I did back then. Okay, ow. I hate you!
Help me, BD.
Of course. Why would I want to force blast into the wall? Why would I want to do that? Why would anyone? Insubordinate and churlish. You swing, wall run, move over here, grab that, tie it up there. Okay. Yeah, well the body splitting where you cut people in half or cut the rodents in half looks so cool. Cut off alien arms, that's fine. But God forbid you chop off a stormtrooper head or something. Oh, I'm out of stuff.
This was an offering to the sage buried here. At the time, it was considered precious.
Oh, you like the subtle Grinch reference? I'm glad. Hate, hate, hate. Hate, hate, hate. Loathing. Dude, I love that Grinch so much. It's so good. I can understand, like, at the time, I'm sure it was kind of a risk. Because that's a pretty different portrayal of the Grinch than the old cartoon. But my God, it works so well. Oh God, no. Okay, okay, we're okay. Slipping slowly into madness. But what would I wear? Dinner with myself. I can't keep canceling that. Solve world hunger. Tell no one. Oh, it's just so great. I love it. Am I supposed to even go this way? I don't think I am. Oh, maybe, because I gotta throw something at it. I did it, I hit him. Now he's gonna kill me, but without gore, because this is Disney. That was a waste.
Help, BD! Up here! Toss me one, BD!
It's Babe! Yeah, they're probably in there. Or they should be.
All of these issues, 75,000 points.
Oh.
So as long as those come in 24 hours, you can buy the ballot possible wherever we're going.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So then we can do a rental car. And it'll be like $300
Right here, BD.
Hey, Nikki,
Yeah.
you're so good.
That's great.
I can also use my points on the rental car.
Oh, yeah, even better.
Yeah. Yes. But need our marriage license to prove we're married. I still think I'm a bit.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, it should be in the filing cabinet. There's a drawer just for personal stuff. Southwest trying to buy everybody, buy everybody's favor back by just sending them masses of points to redeem for flights and stuff.
Let's see what you found.
This, I remember being upset about this, because this, it seems like there should be no issue pulling this and then throwing it at the glass to break it, but you can't. Because that's not how they want you to solve this puzzle. And I remember thinking that was so dumb and being so pissed off that that didn't work. Because it should. But it doesn't just because they don't want it to. It doesn't fit with the solution that they set up. I was pissed about it then. I'm pissed about it now. What you have to do is you have to go back up after pulling this up to reveal these chains. And then you have to use these fire orbs to break that and burn that so that then it can fall. I find it a way stupider solution than just throwing it, but whatever. Oh, right, because there's water. It's all coming back to me. It's like PTSD. It's infuriating. I remember hating this whole thing. Let's see. So if we pull that... Oh, right, but I can't toss it over here. It's coming back to me. And then... Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, Sophie, you're not alone. Luke, is it possible to read soon after, or at least have the link ready because I have to go off soon. I'd like to know your thoughts on it. Yeah, if you could toss it in chat real quick, I can look at it real quick. Hate, hate, hate. Hate, hate, hate. Scolding, loathsome hate. It was like, throw that there, and then it sticks. And then from there, I can pull it down. But it's weird. If you toss it over here, it goes out because the floor is water. But over there, it's fine. And then from there, it breaks. And then it falls. Really dumb. Oh, there's a smart boy. Am I just eating because I'm bored?
Here it is. I have finally found an intact representation of this sacred Zepho artifact. My friend, look closely. This is Mictrol at the Vault Ambagana. You can see an object in their hand. Based on this imagery, I believe this object allows a Force wielder to perceive the mysteries of the Vault. This is the key and the guide, the Zepho Astrium. But who would destroy images of it and why? It requires more research. However, our next step is clear. Find an Astrium. If any still exist.
An Astrium. You ever heard of it? Me neither. But a key. Yeah, I understand that. Looks like we know what we have to find.
Devish, yes, I would agree. Because it's a very approachable one. It's in a popular franchise. People know. And it also has difficulty options. So you can set it to normal, easy, whatever. I would say it's definitely not as polished and refined as those, but it's still good. Like, I think if you got really into this one and you played this one on like hard, you could go over to Dark Souls pretty easily, probably.
You've cleared the way.
What are you talking about?
I needed this tomb raised. And now that I have what I need, you're of no use to me.
Can you reverse what she's done? Thanks. Hope this new encryption keeps her out for good. The pro droid
Acquire
processing
the
unit.
upgrade.
What's it like hacking other droids anyway?
Beep boop boop.
Yeah, I'd feel weird about hacking people too.
BD8's
For a good
awesome.
cause, though, right?
Or BD1, BD8, whichever, yeah. Or it's BB8.
Should check in with the Mantis. Krilla probably knows where they are. You sure the comm's fixed? They're not answering. Something's wrong. We need to get back. Nobody around. Think it's some kind of trap? Seems like we've been walking into a lot of them lately.
Sure have.
Do you hear that?
Boss fight? No, no one's here. Okay.
Keep an eye out for those big blue brutes, Stormtrooper. But what if it sneaks up on us? If something that big. The Jedi! Got someone? Anyone?
This feels good. A good parry just feels good. I think it was out here, though.
I think this might be a lift to the lower floor. It'll be good for heading back.
Is that where I'm supposed to be going now? I will say I've never loved how tough it is to get back to the Mantis. Okay. Just need to head out and to the right.
What do you think that was?
Or left. I can't talk.
Move up already! Get him! You'll pay for that! I feel.
Patience.
Think you can handle this?
Just
speed?
wait. Blink them away.
Just what we need.
Do not concern yourself with a missing artifact. I'll...
Yeah, no fast travel. It's very akin to the Soulsborne stuff like that. The idea is basically once you start exploring a level, you're gonna see it through till you find another rest point. But in moments like this where you just have to backtrack for like 15 minutes, it's kind of annoying.
Villager was wounded, but he took out a trooper.
Blaster was malfunctioning earlier. Oh, did you hear that too? Keep your distance and fire! All right.
This one is particularly tricky to get back from. It's a lot of meandering, lots of tunnels and stuff. 0 to 100, dude. I absolutely agree. They should be fast travel points because you unlock them, you sit at them, you rest in them. I don't understand why they couldn't have done that. It just seems needlessly tedious. It's like pad out gameplay time. All the way back. Now I know that guy's there. Like, I think this game would be a lot shorter if they just let you run past all that. Or fast travel past it. How much longer will your stream be? I need to leave soon. Your streaming schedule isn't very European friendly. Yes, I'm sorry, Jan. Probably another 20 minutes or so. I am working with Nikki to find times that are European friendly that we'll start doing streams at. So we will be doing that. It's one of my things for the new year that I wanted to do. Okay.
Hey, come here! Putting up a fight, huh? Get on! Hey, you're a dangerous one! You ready to die? You actually hit me!
A lot. Dude. That was mean. Oh, it was scripted. Yeah, that's part of it. I forgot about that. I was like, that sucked. I couldn't even get out of it.
Where are we?
Yeah, then we end up in prison. I remember this. Okay, it's coming back.
81. Little buddy?
Little buddy?
Where are you?
Little boo? Did that article ever get popped in the
BD?
chat? I was looking for it. I didn't see it.
Gotta find a way out of here. Wherever here is. Something back there.
Cable.
My lightsaber's missing.
I can't see anything inside. Well, yeah, whoever did that motion capture, the legs just don't work right. I think probably what they did is the guy that did the motion capture for his run animation was probably like maybe shorter or a lot taller. I don't think he was the same height. Oh, can I pull this down? But there was some height differential. And so now he doesn't fit. And they had like squish it down. So it just doesn't look right. And it's gone. I don't know if it's just the lights in here, but I can't see like anything in this. There's a port. Okay.
Is that
There we go.
people?
Okay, okay. With the big light in front of me, I can barely see anything. Okay.
Air's cold, stale. Might be deep underground.
Oh, I remember these puzzles with the cables. All the cables. Oh, BD1's on there. That must be wrong. So that one. Doesn't reach, so it's got to go over here.
I did something.
Can't reach.
Door opened up.
Climb through.
Let's see if I can find a way out of here.
Somebody was saying that they found an article on the next game and the No Man's Sky integrations and stuff like that, and they said that there was an article they wanted me to go through real quick, but I don't think it ever got put in. Which, I mean, it's fine. It happens. I was like, before he left, I wanted to go through it, but I don't think the link ever got dropped. Must have had to leave. Here, okay. But anyway, like I said, I think this was a fun day. This was a fun day. Like I said, tomorrow we are putting up, or tomorrow I'm going to be filming a bunch of stuff and trying to get the studio set up with the new lenses. We'll see if those actually look any better than the one we're using right now. I don't love this one. It's just really grainy and everything's really dark as a result. So, we'll get that upgraded. We'll film Friday's video. We'll be back Friday streaming more. And what else? What else? Oh, I'll get a haircut, so I'll look human again. So we'll do that and other stuff. Yeah, members only streams. We did one last night. We're gonna do. Our goal is at least one a week. We might be doing more every week. And those are just really chill streams where we hang out. We get to talk a little bit more candidly. Say and discuss topics we wouldn't normally talk about on stream. So it's a really good time, very intimate and fun. So if you want to join us for those, just become a member. And also, if you are a member currently on Discord, we just set up the badges. So you have a dedicated badge if you are a member over there. So you get access to the members only like tags and all that stuff. You just have to make sure that your Discord account is tied to your YouTube account that you're a member on, if that makes sense. And once you do that, then you'll get the badge automatically. So, the link, Luke. Where is the link? We've been looking for the link. I couldn't find the link. I don't know. Can you slick your hair straight back before it gets cut? I used to do it like it. It's pretty long. Just forehead for days. Forehead for days. No, Rising, I can see you. I can see everything, but it's not posting links. If you're putting links in, then it's not posting the link. Try like putting it in with spaces in between each chunk of it. Because if you're pasting the link, then it's not going through. So we have not been ignoring you. It's just, it must be flagging the link and then not putting it in chat. which is weird, but it happens like that sometimes. Save recording. I just the other day found a recording. I had started recording like Alt F9 through Shadowplay on my PC, and it was when we were playing Brutal Legend, and I forgot to turn it off, and I was transcoding footage that night for the God of War critique. So that footage, had like a 33-hour video clip of just me using my PC. It's sitting overnight rendering, like just a 33-hour clip of just my computer screen because I forgot to turn off the recording. It's kind of funny. What's the exact name of it? If you just copy and paste the exact name of the article, I'll just search it real quick. I'll just do that. Let's see. Oh, Imperium might have found it. Okay. Share screen. Ubisoft creative director hints at Star Wars news in 2023, saying stuff. Yeah, we went through that. We want to make it a unique game in the saga with a captivating story and set of characters that players can connect to and connect with. Relate and connect with. We want to take what is familiar and resonant about Star Wars and tell stories of new characters who have their own motivations and stakes. That sounds good to me. Massive is also working on Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, an all-new adventure set in the Avatar universe. Yeah, I forgot they were the ones working on that. That's crazy. What he said, let's see. Similarly, Ubisoft division hours ago. Okay, from what we already know, the Ubisoft Star Wars game will boast a fully open, seamless universe akin to that found in No Man's Sky. In the game, players will be able to jump between systems, immersing themselves in a vast galaxy bursting at the seams with activities. At the heart of the game sits an in-depth, lengthy story driven by a fully customizable character that walks a path chosen by the gamer themselves. There are decades worth of lore, locations, weapons, and characters for Ubisoft and Massive Entertainment to draw from, so the game itself should be something special. It may even rival Starfield, which is due to launch in 2023. This screams pop sci-fi, pop gamer cringe takes. When they say, like, it may even rival Starfield. They're very different games. And if you say that this might rival Starfield, it makes me think that you don't know, or you don't think I know what Starfield is. You know, like, so it just sounds, that's kind of cringe every time I read something like that, you know. It's like when somebody announces any game and they're like, so it's basically the new Breath of the Wild. Or like those Elden Ring videos and articles where people were saying like, oh, well, the Starfield or the you know, whatever, Elden Ring is the new Breath of the Wild, and the game design is very Breath of the Wild-esque, and it's just cringe. It's cringe. It's like, you just found the most popular game you could think of, and then just said this game is like that, and then not explain it at all. I find it kind of cringy. But anyway, yeah, Starfield will have lightsabers. Confirmed, yes. I'm confirming that now as a YouTuber. Starfield will have tons of lightsabers. Watch as somebody clips that and then tries to pass it off as actual news. Like, YouTuber Luke Stevens confirms that lightsabers will be in Starfield. Oh God, the internet's an amazing thing. So I don't know. Considering these guys are the ones behind the Division and stuff, I think they are capable of making big games that are fun to play for a lot of people long term. But I don't know if they're the studio that, I don't know. I don't think they've ever done anything like this before. And to also tie in like living, breathing world with tech similar to No Man's Sky, seamless universe, ability to go from planet to space. I mean, what it honestly might be though, we looked a while back at that Beyond Good and Evil 2 tech demo. Beyond Good and Evil 2 tech demo. This, I think, was it. We looked at this, and this tech might be what they're using, because Ubisoft shares all the same tech and improvements and stuff. And this was like 5 going on 6 years ago. And they had tech to be able to fly seamlessly from planet surface to space and back with no load screens, nothing. So it's possible that this very same tech is what's powering this new Star Wars game, which would make sense, which is why I wouldn't say it's like outrageous or unbelievable. It just might be that they built this tech for Beyond Good and Evil 2 thinking that they would use it for that game, but instead they found that it's more useful for this Star Wars game, which would be kind of funny if that's why Beyond Good and Evil 2 is not a thing yet. But I've always said Ubisoft has amazing streaming tech. They're able to just stream data in freakishly quickly. And I mean, you can see at one point he like scrolls out. Let's see where it was. Maybe was it at the very end? No, it's like here. It's like here you see he's like in real time scrolling out away from the planet. Scrolls all the way out. You see the other planets. You see the system. It's running in real time. And then you'll see he presses like one button and it snaps back to the ground level of that planet. It's ridiculous. Watch this. That's insane. That level of just quickly being able to stream data in and out, load it from memory, back and forth. Even if this was running on the best computer available in 2017, that's probably doable in 2023. Like, look at that. That's ridiculous. Star Citizen has some impressive tech. They can't do anything like that. Same with No Man's Sky. So this is why I'm not immediately dismissing the idea that Ubisoft has a game like that in the works in the Star Wars universe, because they've built this tech before. They just didn't use it for a game, or they haven't used it for a game yet. But they have the tech. So it's certainly possible. Who knows? Apparently we'll find out more this year. Probably won't get it for a year or two, but we at least know that it's in the works and that it's certainly possible that they've pulled this off and that they could actually do it. So all told, I'm very optimistic. I think that the potential is certainly there and that this could actually be something really cool. Let's see. As for other stuff, I mean, it's all very, very unknown right now. There's a lot of speculation, but I think that whatever it is, it's going to be very interesting. So we'll keep an eye on it. But with that, I will be back on Friday, like I said, and we will continue maybe through Star Wars. I might finish Star Wars, honestly, before we're back, because I think we're getting close to the end. But either way, we'll play some games. We'll hang out. Like I mentioned, one of my New Year's resolutions was that I want to play in a chess tournament this year in person. So I'm going to start preparing for that, probably for like an hour a week or an hour or two a week on stream. I'll be doing it a lot off stream, but you know, playing some Blitz and stuff. We can play chess with you guys on chess.com and stuff like that. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. But anyway, Dr. K, I do not know about Dr. K. I apologize if that's somebody I should know about, but no, it does not ring a bell. No, Luke, I am your father. You have to keep streaming. He did the thing. He did the thing. Okay, I love you guys. Much love to everybody. I will see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Stay safe. Go watch the new video on High on Life. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.